Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Regardless, 3 rims out. Offensive carom for Allen. Reset Hunter. Hunter's going to hoist one. What a play by Gerald. Got the clean strip. Mitchell.
You don't have to foul here, but you have got to come up with a stop.
Trying to shoot. Turner. He puts it down. Miles Turner with the biggest shot of his season. And Indiana is up 9, and they can taste it.
And getting beat down like this, and y'all gonna write something about us, man. Like, good for everybody. Y'all can say a lot of y'all are. And that's what it takes. I've been here. There it goes. The season has come to an end. Boy, if this doesn't want to make you put a cigarette out in your eyeball. Holy cow. I got to laugh, man. I got to laugh or I'm going to cry. Welcome into the Sam Bourquin Show. AM 1310 WDPN, streaming live all over the world at AM 1310 WDPN.com. Sam Bourquin here, Ryan Rainsberg there, and hello to all of you listening or you're watching today on all our social media platforms, especially the Q92 radio YouTube channel and Facebook page. All right, got my guards gear on today. They're getting beat. It's over. The Browns stink. Oh, my God. What are we doing? What are we doing? Call me today. Deliver me some good news today. Tell me everything's going to be okay in our sports world. 330-821-1310. That's 330-821-1310. You can also text the show 330-924-7088. Well, if you would have told me the Cleveland Cavaliers were going to get ousted in 5 games in the second round of the NBA playoffs, I'd have told you you were certifiably nuts. I'd have given you the old quote from Chief Brody in Jaws. You're certifiable, Quint. That's what I would have told you. And here we are. Season's over. 64 regular season wins, a sweep of the Miami Heat, and a gentleman's sweep at the hands of the Indiana Pacers. Season's over. 104-95 the final last night. That was, at times, a rocking arena. You heard a couple of the highlights we played you from last night's game. A big 3-point play, a possible 4-point play for DeAndre Hunter. Mitchell, a big 3 down the stretch. Both Cavs had a big lead again last night. Let it slip away. And once the Pacers got their footing, they figured a couple of things out. You almost kind of knew that the Cavaliers were not going to win that game. You could tell when Indiana starts to get that, whatever that it is, it's like they get a deficit down to a certain point, and at that point, they know it's theirs. And I felt that way last night in the first quarter. I felt that way in the second quarter. I left here last night 7:30. I don't know, 7:35. And it takes me about, I'll say a half hour to get home. It takes me about 27 minutes to get home. So I click on the old radio, and I was going back and forth last night on the satellite. I was listening to the Cavs feed on one channel, and then after a timeout, I would switch over to the Pacers feed on another channel, just to kind of get a little different perspective from both of the broadcast teams. And the Cavaliers were building up that lead. They were up by 10. They were up by 13. It was 15. It was 17. I think they got it to 19 once. I distinctly remember looking on my screen on the way home. 42-25 Cavs. That kind of stuck in my mind, that score. And I know we added a couple more onto it. I think we had a 19-point lead. But then there was just like this sudden thud, and everything stopped. And the Pacers figured things out. And once they figured things out, offensively, defensively, they asserted themselves a little more physical, a little bit more passion. And you knew that the Cavaliers were in big trouble. Even when the Cavaliers would kind of stop the bleeding a little bit, Indiana would go like 6-0, 8-0, 9-1, 12-3. Cavs would get a bucket. It was usually an ISO hero ball 3. That wasn't enough to make me think, oh, okay, we're good now. We got our bearings back together. We're going to be okay. I never once felt good, even when the Cavaliers stopped the Pacer run, even after the Cavaliers had built up a big lead. I never felt good about it. I never felt comfortable about it. And as a sports fan or someone in the media, it can go both ways. You know when you know. You know. And most of the time your gut tells you that you're right. Most of the time your gut tells you that you're right. And I hate having that feeling because I knew once the Pacers whacked that lead, I knew we were done. It's like we used that energy. Remember I told you? We're going to, I didn't want to get out to a huge lead and then just watch it dissipate. And that's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened to the Cavaliers last night. Now, I will say the Pacers had to use their front liners pretty heavily last night. Nembhard, 37 minutes. Halliburton, 37 minutes. Turner, 33 minutes. Nesmith, 37 minutes. Siakam, 39 minutes. Shepard and Toppin played off the bench. They played 12 minutes apiece. So Rick Carlisle, they wanted to shut that thing down last night, and shut it down they did. Tyrese Halliburton, great googly moogly, 31 points last night, 6 rebounds, 8 assists. Siakam, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. He's a pain in the butt. I don't really even like watching Pascal Siakam play. He reminds me of a Livingston guy that Golden State had a couple years ago. Just a wiry, sloppy, make things up as you go, but he gets the job done. You love him if he's on your team. I can't even stand to watch him play the way he plays. But it was good enough to beat the Cavaliers last night. All right, I'm going to run down some of the stats for the Cavs last night. You tell me if this is second round Eastern Conference semifinal playoff basketball worthy numbers. I'm going to go from the top to the bottom. We'll start with Donovan. 37 minutes, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 4 steals. Did not have a great shooting percentage night, and my goodness gracious, he missed 3 free throws. Close to the end of the game last night when the game was still kind of like you still had a shot. Not a great shot, but you still had a shot. He missed 3 free throws. Folks, he missed them badly. One he rattled. Second one was way short. The third one was way long. I'm like, are you trying to miss? What are you? Missed 3 free throws. Didn't look good either. Didn't look good. I don't know if he was feeling I don't know. Maybe he was. Darius Garland last night, 33 minutes. 11 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. We didn't get much from DG last night at all. And the defensive end of the ball, Nothing. Jarrett Allen, in almost 30 minutes of action, 9 points. 9 points. 4 rebounds. Got nothing from Jarrett Allen. Nothing. Max Strus, how about this line? 26 points, or 26 minutes. No points. 7 rebounds, 2 assists. 0 for 6 from a three-point land. Or maybe 0 of 9. I think he missed 9. That doesn't matter. Evan Mobley, Evan played 37 minutes, 24 points, 11 rebounds, 2 blocks, and a steal. You cannot have games like that. You cannot have stat lines like that from Darius Garland and Jarrett Allen if you're going to beat a team in the postseason, in a game, with your backs against the wall. You cannot have numbers like that. That is not championship basketball numbers. Middle quarters again last night, the bugaboo. Cavaliers outscored 33-25 in the second quarter, 33-20 in the third. Again, they raced out to that big lead. Couldn't hold it. Cavaliers again from three-point line. 9 of 35. Free throws, 26 of 37. They missed 11 free throws last night, did the Cavaliers. Overall, they were 35 of 90. That's brutal. Pacers had 16 more assists. Pacers had 5 more blocks. We actually had 6 more points in the paint. Yeah, here it is. Cavaliers' biggest lead, 19. Pacers' biggest lead was 12. They win by 9, 104-95. In 19,432, minus a couple hundred Indiana fans, go home unhappy. For the second year in a row, the Cavaliers get spanked in the second round of the playoffs, and for the second year in a row, you're sitting wondering, what do they have to do to get to the next round? Is it the end of the world? No. Is this still a fairly young team? Yes. Do we have a lot of our guys under contract for several more years? Yes. So what's the deal? Kenny Atkinson got baptized by Rick Carlisle. Kenny did not have a good second round playoff series. He did not. Team didn't look ready to go. They made maybe the one game they made the switch, they went to the zone. Rick Carlisle figured it out in about a quarter and a half, and the rest is history. 114-105, Cavaliers lose the series 4-1. They're done. Pacers on to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive year. And it's all shaping up. It's all shaping up for one of the throwback series back in the day with the Pacers and the Knicks. Remember all the great games played there with Reggie Miller? I mean, there was some epic battles between New York and Indiana. That's probably what you're going to get this year. I don't think Boston's going to come back, and we know the Cavaliers are done for the season. 330-821-1310 if you want to get in. You want to vent? You want to calm me down a little bit? You want to tell me it's going to be okay moving forward? What happened to the Cavaliers last night? What's the biggest issue? What's the biggest need? What's the most pressing thing with this Cavaliers team and with this Cavaliers organization? I've got a couple of thoughts. 330-821-1310 is the telephone number. And don't forget, you can always text us at 330-924-7088. We will hear from Kenny Atkinson coming up a little bit later on. We'll hear more from Donovan Mitchell. We'll have On This Day in Sports History at around 5:25. We'll talk some guards. By the way, Guardians last night, another shutout, 2-0. A little day baseball today up in Cleveland. They're already in the top of the 8th inning, and the Brewers lead the Guardians by the score of 7-2. We will keep you updated on that ball game as well. Tonight, Knicks and Celtics, 7 o'clock at TD Garden. The Celtics are actually a favorite tonight. They're a favorite, -4.5. 9:30 tonight, closeout game, Minnesota Golden State, no Steph Curry. The Wolves are a 10.5-point favorite tonight in Minneapolis. We've also have our Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. You can take that on X, on Facebook. You can call your answer in. Today's poll question of the day. Cleveland Cavaliers, core four. A, break it up. B, run it back. What do you do with our core four? Do you bring them back? Do you break it up? That's the Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. You can check that out on X and on Facebook as well. Some other stuff going on in the sports world today we'll touch on. As you know, Pete Rose is now eligible for the Hall of Fame. Shoeless Joe Jackson and others. We can get into that. Roger Goodell with the Ohio lawmakers yesterday, trying to drum up some interest and get some cash together so that maybe the stadium in Brook Park can be built for the Browns. And I think there's also been some conversations with the folks down in Cincinnati. I'm sure they're looking at getting a new stadium here sometime in the near future. So we'll break down those conversations as well. So lots to get to on this edition of the Sam Bourquin Show. A little rather somber get-together today, but we'll get through it. We always do. 330-821-1310. We'll be back. Stay with us.
Looking for a fun-filled way to celebrate the spring season? Head to SpringFest at Spring Hill Historic Home in Massillon this Saturday, May 17th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This all-ages event is packed with something for everyone. Over 20 artisan and craft vendors, tasty eats from D3K Dogs and Boba Tea-licious, live music from the Canal Street Ramblers and Maddie Starr, plus crafts, games, and a scavenger hunt. Tour the historic 1821 farmhouse and don't miss the t-shirt printing bar by Sassy Mama Creative Designs. Shop unique finds from favorites like the Red Geranium, Molly B's Candle Company, A Wandering Palette, and Ebb the Creator, just to name a few. Admission is $10 for adults, $5 for youth ages 6 to 12, and free for kids 5 and under. Get your tickets now on Eventbrite. And your love of all things spring to Spring Hill Historic Home this Saturday, 11 to 4.
This place has a pulse. You hear it in the canopy, feel it in the ground. Life, fully illuminated, engulfs you. From the birds singing in the treetops above to the tiniest insects in the soil below. You take a deep, cleansing breath, filling your lungs with the essence of the forest. Now, imagine it's all gone. Healthy, life-giving forests reduced to nothing. No singing birds, no lush canopy, and water and food in short supply around the world. Time is running out to protect our forests, and without our love, they can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our forests. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
And welcome back to the program. A couple of minutes before we get you to the bottom of the hour news and weather, we're going to be checking in with Evan Damerel from Right Down Euclid on X. He'll be joining us at 4:15 to break down the Cavs Pacers series. And more importantly now at this point, there's no more breaking series down. Now we are looking ahead. Okay? Now we are going to look ahead and see what is next. We're going to look ahead to see what the Cavaliers do. Will they make it? You know, Dan Gilbert wrote a letter last night. Again, now I shouldn't say it was a letter. It was just the Cavs fans, thank you for the support all season. We had a great run. I promise you we will change things around and we'll feel a lot better this time next year with the progress of our team, blah, blah, blah. So, and I posted that up on my Twitter page if you want to check that out, at Sam Bourquin16 on X. It was just a little 6-7 sentence thing from Cavs majority owner Dan Gilbert last night. So, yeah, there's a lot to talk about there. By the way, Max Strus, I gave you a couple of numbers last night. 0 for 9 from the floor, and he was 0 for 6 from three-point range. You just can't have that. You can't have that. Yeah, I looked down the bench last night. I saw Max Strus. I saw Sam Merrill. I saw Ty Jerome. I saw Dean Wade. That's all fine, fun, and dandy for the regular season. That's not going to get it cut in the playoffs. They are certainly going to have to address that, the bench. And as far as our poll question today, the Cleveland Cavaliers core four: A, break it up; B, run it back. You can take that on the Facebook page and the 1310 WDPN X page today as well. Some great responses from you out there. We will read some of those when we get back here from the bottom of the hour break, which is next with news and weather, and we'll return here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Happy Wednesday, everybody. 1310 WDPN, streaming live at AM1310WDPN.com.
Here's the latest news on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 3:30. Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is getting grilled by lawmakers on the House Appropriations Committee concerning his agency's budget. More from ABC's Jay O'Brien.
This is a hearing that focuses on the HHS budget, but it's the opportunity for members of both sides of the aisle to ask Kennedy some pointed questions, not just on his medical advice, but also on changes he's made at that agency, at career vaccine officials at FDA, for instance, resigning, as happened a few months ago, and even on HHS's reversal now that we've reported at length of the firings of these 100 plus healthcare workers at HHS who were tasked with running a healthcare program that specifically helped protect coal miners from black lung.
President Trump says he urgently wants to make a deal with Iran to wind down its nuclear program, but he says Tehran must end its support of proxy groups throughout the Mideast as part of any potential agreement. Trump is in the midst of a three-country visit to the region. Today, he discussed Iran's rapidly advancing nuclear program in one-on-one talks with Qatar's emir. The American president expressed measured confidence that the U.S. effort with Tehran would work out one way or another. In earlier comments in Saudi Arabia, Trump made clear he expected Tehran to end its role as the chief financial backer of the militant groups. Before landing in Qatar, Trump spoke to reporters about his meeting with Syria's new president and how he thought it went. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers is traveling with the president and has more.
President Trump holding a historic meeting in Riyadh Wednesday morning with the new president of Syria, the first engagement by a U.S. president with a Syrian leader in 25 years. The president on Air Force One en route to Qatar telling reporters about the meeting.
Right, I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
The meeting with President al-Shara comes just after President Trump announced he is taking first steps toward normalizing relations with Syria and is moving to lift U.S. sanctions on Syria. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Doha.
A former model has reproached one of Harvey Weinstein's lawyers for suggesting that her sexual abuse allegations against the ex-studio boss are lies. Kaja Sokolow told the attorney today that she was telling the truth and that he should be ashamed of himself. Sokolow finished 5 days of testimony at Weinstein's sex crimes retrial. She says Weinstein repeatedly offered to foster her acting ambitions, but then made unwanted physical advances, beginning when she was 16. Weinstein faces a sexual assault charge related to her allegation of forced sex about 4 years earlier. He also faces charges based on two other women's claims. He has pleaded not guilty. It's 75 degrees in Alliance at 3:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Meteorologist Mark Johnson has the latest forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
76 warm degrees. That's not bad. The problem is we got some rain and thunderstorms moving in for the afternoon, on and off. Grab the umbrella. Overnight, evening rain and thunder, then drying out. Our low 59. I am Art J. Weather from News 5.
Music and intelligence for your life.
No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
I'm John Tesh, and we couldn't be happier about bringing you intelligence for your life every day. We have a room full of researchers gathering the information and ideas you need to make your life simpler and better, and to make you the smartest person in the room. Join me for Music and Intelligence for Your Life, 10 to 3, Monday through Saturday, only on AM 1310 WDPN.
You heard it on the John Tesh Radio Show.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-498-2098 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-498-2098 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-498-2098 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Every 65 seconds, someone in the United States develops Alzheimer's disease. Many don't even know it.
I just knew that I wasn't the high-performing person I used to be. Pieces of my past are being erased. I was lucky we caught this at the very earliest stages. I hope that my story can give other people hope. There is life to be lived. Increasingly, there will be treatments. We need to invest even more in research and finding treatments and cures.
Bright Focus Foundation's Alzheimer's Disease Research Program has invested more than $175 million in breakthrough research.
If your loved one or you yourself are sitting there thinking, something is wrong, I'm not who I used to be, you can get some answers and you can get them for free.
Call us at 1-855-345-6237 or visit us online at brightfocus.org/brainhealth to learn more.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Welcome back to the program, 1310 WDPN. We are streaming live at am1310WDPN.com. It is the Sam Bourquin Show on a Wednesday afternoon. Phones are open, 330-821-1310. You can text the show at 330-924-7088. From right down Euclid on X, Evan Damerell going to be joining us in around 4:15 to talk a little Cavs and the little future of the Cavs. That's coming up here in about 45 minutes or so. Question of the day. The Cleveland Cavaliers core four. A, break it up. B, run it back. You got two choices for the Cavs core four, which is Allen, Mitchell, Mobley, and Garland. Do you break it up or do you run it back? That's our poll question of the day. I've read Donovan Mitchell. And I think Evan Mobley has shown me enough improvement. You don't want to break him up. But boy, I might need some coaxing from somebody to tell me why I absolutely positively have to keep Darius Garland and Jared Allen. And I know the Cavaliers are in a little bit of a salary cap, which we always are for some reason. We're always in a salary pickle. We're always talking about threshold and luxury tax and this and that and the other. We can't ever have, hey, we got some room. We never have that. But I don't know if, look, the team that we had this year and where we went, I think that is the ceiling. Is it not? I mean, can this group as is, I'm talking core four, starting five, and the next 4 or 5 guys off the bench. Is there another level or two that they can go? Or is this the ceiling? Is this as high as it can go? You know it's as high as it can go. So what's the point in moving forward with it? You got to make some changes and shake it up a little bit. I guess that would be another question off of the poll question. Has this group reached the limit of success together? Maybe I'll paraphrase it that way. I mean, the core four, I think about those four guys I just mentioned. That's a pretty darn good core four. But then I look past that, and man alive, I got questions. I got questions for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, maybe 10 on my bench. And look, the end of the bench doesn't matter. Those guys don't play anyway. So if you lose guy 12, 13, 14, 15, it doesn't matter. You'll pick four guys up the following year, minimal contracts, and they're just happy to sit on the bench. I'm talking about my starting five and then going maybe another four. I think 9 is a good rotation, 10 during the regular season, okay. But in the playoffs, I think you got to whittle that thing down to about 8, maybe 9. And with the amount of rest that we got, I can't sit here and buy fatigue. Indiana didn't look fatigued at all. They didn't look tired. They had a spring in their step. They were whipping the ball around the perimeter. Guys were spin dribbling, moving, screening, picking and rolling. They didn't look tired. For God's sake, the Cavaliers coasted the last week of the season, the last 7 or 8 games. They coasted through Miami. They had another week off. I don't want to hear, oh, our guys were tired. I don't want to hear that. Now you talk about the injury situation. How bad were our guys hurt? Why did they not play game 2? Could they have played game 2? They all looked pretty good in game 3. I mean, they really looked good in game 3. And then we reverted back to game 4, and last night was what it was. But how far are we going to go with the group we've got now? 330-821-1310. That's 330-821-1310. How far can they go? With the core 4, then you talk about your starting 5. You got, DeAndre Hunter. You got him for another 3 years, I think, at a pretty good contract. I know when we traded for Jared Allen the first time, it was 5 years, $100 million. I think they redid his contract or gave an extension. You gave Garland the max. Spida's got the max. You paid Mobley. I mean, that salary is pretty well full. I mean, you had Ty Jerome on a 2-year deal. I don't even think that was worth $10 million. You're paying Strus a little bit. I mean, Dean Wade, Sam Merrill. Has this group reached their potential? Thus, the poll question, is it time to break up the core 4, or do you run it back another year and see what happens? I really need some coaxing on maybe why to bring this group back again when I think maybe they have reached the pinnacle. On Twitter, Doug, Sam, the Cavs lost every home game. Unreal. They have to get mentally tougher. And if they plan on beating Indiana in the future, the length of their guards is a problem, offensively and defensively. Garland and Jerome had and will continue to have problems with the Pacers' length. Amen, Doug. You're right on it. Or as Jim Jones would say during a Cavalier radio basketball broadcast, you're all over it, babe. You're all over it, Doug. Not tough enough mentally. I said it last night. Now, look, I know I'm not breaking any ground. I know I'm not breaking any ground. Not tough enough mentally, not tough enough physically. And I'm not the only one saying it. Cavalier players were saying it last night during the postgame. Kenny Atkinson was saying it last night during the postgame press conference, which we're going to hear a little bit from Kenny coming up here in a minute. So if everybody knows the problem, what are you going to do to fix it? And within the confines of the salary cap situation. How are you going to fix it? I think Kenny Atkinson did a hell of a job. Coach of the year. Bravo. That was regular season basketball. He got a lesson. He learned a little lesson in the second round. Evan Mobley, NBA Defensive Player of the Year. That's great during the regular season. Where did that go during the second season? The season that really matters. And folks, Donovan Mitchell. Oh, I hate to even say this, but I've got to tell you. Donovan Mitchell, in his entire NBA career with the Utah Jazz and the Cleveland Cavaliers, has never, ever, ever, ever made it out of the second round. Donovan Mitchell has never made it out of the second round. Let that sink in a little bit. Let me bring in Donovan Mitchell here. And he says, you know what? Despite the failures the last couple of years, we are not going to stop. We're going to keep going. Donovan Mitchell from your Cleveland Cavaliers. I like what I heard there. I really liked his press conference last night. He dropped a couple of bombs, frustrated, angry, upset, kind of took it on his shoulders a little bit. But you know, you can only talk so much. Eventually you got to get out there and you got to slay the dragon. You got to kick the door down, you got to make it happen. Cavaliers haven't done that. Now, let me circle back. And let's go back 2 years. We knew we were starting to put a core group together. JB won 48 games. Embarrassing series to the Knicks. He got let go. Here comes Kenny Atkinson. 64 regular season wins. A sweep of the Miami Heat. Bounced in the second round of the playoffs by a team that wanted it more than the Cavs. At least it appeared to me they wanted it more. Okay? Actions speak louder than words. I saw mental toughness. I saw physical toughness by Indiana. They wanted it more, and they got it. End of story. But you know how things go in the NBA. It takes a while, even with a core or 3/4 of a core, to get to the top of the mountain. We've used this scenario many, many times. How many years did it take Michael Jordan to finally get over the hump and win an NBA title? How many times did it take the Boston Celtics with Tatum and Brown, part of that core, to win an NBA title? How many times? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Well, this is only like that third year. Now, the question is, are you willing to wait another 3 or 4 years to get a title? That would put you at 7, and still there's no guarantees there. How many coaches are able to stay around that long? Will Donovan Mitchell even be here in another 4 years? Remember, he signed that extension, but wasn't a really super long extension. And by the time that comes around for a lot of those guys, their contract extensions are going to be up. So exactly how long this window is open and how quickly it closes, only time will tell. But just remember that window always closes. And it always closes a little bit more quickly than you think. You think you've got X amount of days, X amount of months, X amount of years. And before you know it, here comes that window. And it's just sliding down, closed. That's how it goes. Usually same with the NFL, same with Major League Baseball. There's a time to strike. You've got to strike while the iron's hot. You've got to get through that door before it's too late. You've got to get through that window of opportunity before it closes on you. Where are you at with this group? 330-821-1310. Ryan Rainsberg says we got a text message or so to read across the way.
Yes, we do. We have the answer to today's question from our usual texter. He says, break it up. Garland is a glorified G League player. Trade Mobley and Allen. Don't sign Jerome. He'd be asking too much money. And he says, Strauss, wonder why Pat Riley, glad to see him gone. Wade is a glorified plumber. And he also said, Merrill have had a hard time getting playing time for Mount Union.
Oh, my gosh.
He also says they need to build a playoff roster with NBA basketball players.
Wow. Okay, that's a little strong, but I
harsh today.
I can feel the frustration.
Yeah.
Thomas on Facebook, guys, they're stuck. You can't get anything for Allen. You're not trading Mitchell, Mobley, or Garland. You have no other point guard of worth outside of Garland. Got to run it back. See what they can do. Add some muscle off the bench. That's about it. Yeah, I 100% agree. Eric says, I think you need to get mentally and physically tougher. Not sure how you do that, but it absolutely, positively needs to be done. Lenny Norsha, my guy. He says, this is a relatively young team, but hitting their prime. They need a bit more toughness. Pam says, tweak it just a little bit. They'll be okay. With minimal changes, meaning to the bench and possibly trading one starter. See, that's kind of where I fit. I'm not saying break up the whole core four and ship them out in four different directions, but I think you might need to make one sort of a splash move, if you know what I mean. And to me, that's either Garland or Allen. I'm not getting rid of Mobley, and I'm not getting rid of Donovan Mitchell. Not doing it. Here's another thing you've got to look at. This is a great point from Tony Marco on Facebook. Sam, the top two teams in the East quite possibly look way different next year. Thinking Boston might have a fire sale as well. They are in salary cap hell, and they're not getting out of it. As you see the Boston Celtics now, this could be it. This could be it. They are way, way over the luxury tax. Remember, new ownership group coming in, and something tells me they're not going to try to spend as much money as the group before. And now you've got, you start talking about Jaylen Brown, you start talking about Jason Tatum, you start talking about guys like Al Horford. How much longer is he going to play? There's a lot going on there. 7 minutes before the top of the hour, we will step aside. 330-821-1310. You can also text the show at 330-924-7088. Putting the finishing touches on the Cavaliers' run here in the 2024-2025 season. Man, tough night last night. We'll be back.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel you attract people who tend to be compulsive or abusive?
Do you have money problems because of someone else's drinking?
Are you afraid or embarrassed to bring your friends home?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
More than half of all adults have a family history of alcoholism.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon
and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at rotary.org/action.
I want you to imagine for a moment you're in a hospital. You are the patient connected to an IV bag. There's a constant parade of serious doctors, countless tests, endless pokes, and a serious diagnosis. Scary surgeries are followed by painful recoveries. You're in the hospital for days, weeks, months. Now imagine experiencing all of these things and you're only a child. This is why Starlight exists, to bring happiness to hospitalized children through programs that help kids cope, build resilience, bolster confidence, and change their outlook. Programs like gaming, virtual reality headsets, toy deliveries, radio flyer wagons, and cozy hospital gowns are just a few of the ways Starlight eases a child's hospital stay. Because happiness matters. Visit starlight.org to learn more.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
All right, we're back for the final 4 minutes or so until we get to the top of the hour with all the news and the weather. Tough day today. Sun came up. But man, that's a tough way to go. 64 wins and you're down. You're done. You're cooked. You're out. For the second year in a row, you couldn't get out of the second round of the playoffs. 104-95 Pacers over the Cavs. We'll hear from Kenny Atkinson coming up next hour in his post-game presser from last night. Evan Damerel from Right Down Euclid is going to be joining us at 4:15 to talk a little Cavs today. Don't forget our Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day on X, on Twitter, at AM 1310 WDPN on X, at Sam Bourquin 16 on X, on the WDPN Facebook page. It's all over the place. We're all over. The tentacles are reaching as we speak. Our poll question of the day, the Cavaliers core four. Mitchell, Garland, Allen, and Mobley. Break it up, or do you run it back? Ron Kohler on the Facebook page. Run it back, Sam. Start DeAndre Hunter next year. Okay. Matthew Curry says, it doesn't matter. It's Cleveland. Laughing emoji. Matthew, how's Steph and the Warriors doing this year, bud? How they doing? Good to hear from you, though. Ron Bagley says, run it back. Terry says, run it back. Jim Vogt says, run it back, but practice hand-to-hand combat. That's what the NBA is coming to again. You know what? I am surprised. The amount of talk that started last night, and it's getting more legs today, and I think it's nonsense. You know how people like to put trades together? I keep seeing today and last night, trade Garland and trade Allen to the Bucks for Giannis. Yeah, right. That's not going to happen. And quite frankly, I don't see why the Milwaukee Bucks would even think about doing that. Garland and Allen for Giannis Antetokounmpo? If I'm Milwaukee, there's no way I'm doing that. Nate says, run it back, Sammy. You got to keep trying. Travis says, depends on who they are giving up and who else is coming back, but you got to get some stuff in return. Eric Hankins, good to hear from you, Eric. Several should be looked at as movable pieces. Got to find a legit number 2 guy to Mitchell. They've got to get tougher. They are soft. Their bigs are some of the softest in the NBA. I can't argue there. I can't argue there. John Wright says, Sam, doesn't matter what the average fan thinks. I would run it back. They need to learn how to grab, push, and shove like the rest of the NBA. Well, the key is you got to learn how to do that without getting called for a foul. See, in the regular season, they'll call it. In the postseason, they won't call it. That's just the way it is. Right or wrong, like it or love it, that's the way it is. David says, keep Mitchell and Mobley. Everybody else is expendable for the right price. You could probably talk me into that. I think I want to hold on to a DeAndre Hunter. Although he's not as tough as I thought maybe he was. But the guy can play offense and he can certainly play defense, especially on the perimeter. All right, break time. News and weather coming up. 2 more big hours to go. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Sam Bourquin Show on a Wednesday on 1310 WDPN.
An Alliance tradition for over half a century. You can always count on WDPN Alliance.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President Trump arrived in Qatar today. It's the second stop on his Middle East trip this week, a day after announcing new business ventures with Saudi Arabia. President Trump announcing Qatar has agreed to buy a fleet of jets from Boeing.
I just want to thank you for the friendship, for the long-time friendship. And again, long before any of this stuff, we just liked each other.
Qatar has also offered to gift the Trump administration a Boeing luxury jet the White House says would be used as Air Force One. That's raising questions on both sides of the aisle over legality and also national security. Singer Cassie Ventura back on the stand today in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. His ex-girlfriend facing cross-examination about testimony she was coerced into carrying out sex acts with other men and escorts. And a flood emergency in parts of Maryland and Virginia bracing for more torrential rain today. And in Minnesota, they could see some rain to help with record heat and wildfires across the state. This is ABC News.
If you're waiting for summer deals to refresh your home, don't wait any longer because Macy's Memorial Day presale is happening now. From backyard hosting to indoor updates, find the perfect pieces for every space, like amazing outdoor furniture sets, customer favorites like the Radley Sectional, and top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic. Come in and get early access to incredible deals. We're talking 20 to 65% off before the official sale begins on Friday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Now, the latest Alliance area news from Jeff Mears on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon, it's 4:02. The foster parents of a 3-year-old Canton boy who died last week are accused of not properly feeding and caring for him, causing him to starve to death. That's according to court records concerning 42-year-old Demetrius Givens and 37-year-old Jamie Thompson of Canton. They turned themselves in Tuesday. Canton police had obtained warrants charging the couple with involuntary manslaughter and child endangering Friday. They are scheduled for arraignment tomorrow in Canton Municipal Court. Officers responded to a Gilbert Circle Northeast home May 5th after a report of a child who wasn't breathing. The boy was taken to Mercy Hospital where he died. Givens and Thompson had been advised to seek medical help to address the child's malnutrition, but allegedly refused to work with medical professionals and canceled several appointments. The activity occurred between October 1st and May 4th. Developers of the former Hercules property in Canton have reached an agreement with the city. The Repository Reports Council approved the plan Monday. According to Mayor William Scherer, the 4 investors offered to pay $1 million within 90 days to settle the lawsuit, and total repayments could reach $2.5 million in principal principal and interest. The city sued in March, claiming $1.8 million in unpaid balance and $4.3 million unpaid and accrued debt. The developers reportedly began falling behind on payments in 2019 and then missed payments altogether. The Hercules project received a $3 million loan from the Stark Community Foundation for the first phase. 90 market-rate apartments opened to tenants in 2018. A 30-year tax increment financing package passed at the time was to help fund the second phase of development. Vacant and abandoned properties are again a topic of discussion for Smith Township trustees. Terry Chris said Tuesday the Mahoning County Land Bank will demolish 7 houses this year, 4 on Alden Avenue, 2 on Stanley Avenue, and 1 on Alliance Sebring Road. The land bank will cover the cost. Trustees discussed stepping up enforcement to get rid of junk vehicles. They renewed a 1-year contract with the Mahoning County Green Team to place recycling bins at Maple Ridge Park. Trustees also gave a free membership to Planet Fitness to township police officers. Cleanup Day will be June 7th from 8 to 1. The coordinator of Columbiana County's 911 system is calling on residents, local officials, and the county's 911 committee to call state lawmakers and urge an increase in the wireless fee, which pays for the system's equipment. The Morning Journal reports Brian Rutledge provided an update about the fee proposal in an email Tuesday. He noted Friday is the deadline for any amendments to pending legislation. Opponents claim maintaining the current 40-cent fee per line or device will give the state a surplus. Rutledge says most of the fee goes to the state and the county receives only a small portion. It's not clear how money from an increase will be distributed to counties. The House is proposing a 20-cent increase, while the Senate is considering raising it to $1.25. East Palestine Village Council has a new member. Aaron Stauffer was appointed Monday to the seat vacated when Jessica Rocco resigned last month. It's the latest change for council in recent months. Barb Harriet was named to a seat after Councilman Doug Simpson resigned in October. He did so in protest of the treatment of former village manager Chad Edwards. John Simon was appointed to council after the December death of Linda May. One person is dead after a house fire near Warren this morning. Firefighters responded to the 300 block of Aspen Drive Northwest in Champion Township around 7:30. 2 residents escaped on their own while crews rescued a third from the second floor. The Trumbull County Coroner's Office later said a man died but did not release his name. The blaze destroyed the home's roof and attic. A fire captain suffered facial burns. Police Chief Larry Skaggs suffered from smoke inhalation. Both were taken to a hospital and are expected to recover. The cause is under investigation by the State Fire Marshal's office. Animal Charity of Ohio is caring for 56 cats removed from a Boardman home Tuesday afternoon. The organization says the animals were rescued from an address on Glenwood Avenue. It's described as a hoarding situation. Animal Charity says in a Facebook post that their shelter is now in extreme need of items including cat litter, litter boxes, and cat food. A motion for judicial release has been filed by former Austintown Township trustee Steve Kent. He's serving prison time following his conviction on a tampering with evidence charge in August 2023. The motion was filed Tuesday in Mahoning County Common Pleas Court. His appeal for early release was denied in September. Prosecutors said Kent reset his cell phone to impede an investigation against him. He was previously charged with having a sexual relationship with a Poland high school student while he was working as a resource officer. Kent was acquitted of the charges. He was released from the county jail last October after being granted a stay in the case. Trumbull County prosecutors are opposing parole for a man convicted of killing a woman at a Southington restaurant in 1988. The request from 66-year-old Robert Williams will be heard next month by the Ohio Parole Board. He was denied release in 2015 and 2020. Williams is serving 23 years to life for the slaying of waitress Deborah Blaine. Williams shot her after an argument over his dinner. Blaine attempted to call for help, but Williams grabbed a knife and cut her throat. He then stood on her until she stopped breathing. Blaine was pregnant at the time. It's 74 degrees in Alliance at 4:07. This is the local edition of WDPN News. Mark Johnson's forecast is up next, a service of Canterbury Villa of Alliance. I'm Jeff Mears.
Send your loved ones to a place that cares and a place that they can trust. They'll find a place that feels like home at Canterbury Villa in Alliance. They will provide the highest level of care to their residents when it comes to skilled nursing, rehabilitation, long-term care, and Alzheimer's care. At Canterbury Villa, your loved ones become family. Located on Freshley Avenue, schedule a free visit today by calling 330-821-4000 and ask for Samantha Nutter. At Canterbury Villa, they walk the talk.
Now, the Alliance Area Weather Forecast from Mark Johnson on AM 1310 WDPN.
This WDPN weather is brought to you by Canterbury Villa of Alliance, where your loved ones become family. Schedule a free visit today by calling 330-821-4000. For the afternoon hours today, cloudy skies, scattered rain, maybe a rumble of thunder. Grab the umbrella. 76 degrees for the high. More scattered rain and thunder during the evening, and then just cloudy. Our low 59. I am Art J. Weather. Have a great Wednesday.
Looking for a fun-filled way to celebrate the spring season? Head to Springfest at Spring Hill Historic Home in Massillon this Saturday, May 17th from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. This all-ages event is packed with something for everyone. Over 20 artisan and craft vendors, tasty eats from D3K Dogs and Boba Tea-licious. Live music from the Canal Street Ramblers and Maddie Starr. Plus crafts, games, and a scavenger hunt. Tour the historic 1821 farmhouse and don't miss the t-shirt printing bar by Sassy Mama Creative Designs. Shop unique finds from favorites like the Red Geranium, Molly B's Candle Company, A Wandering Palette, and Ebb the Creator, just to name a few. Admission is $10 for adults, $5 for youth ages 6 to 12, and free for kids 5 and under. Get your tickets now on Eventbrite. And your love of all things spring to Spring Hill Historic Home this Saturday, 11 to 4.
I think we can all agree. Over the last few years, things have gotten weird.
Weird, confusing, and at times pretty scary.
And for our kids, these things can be overwhelmingly stressful.
And can increase the risk for mental health problems as they grow.
But there's so much hope.
Scientific research and real-life experience
tell us that the number one antidote to stress is authentic, trusted relationships.
So that's why I.
That's why we.
That's why I am committed to building and maintaining a trusted space.
For the students I influence every single day.
Until schools across the country
can proudly call ourselves a trusted space.
This is a trusted space.
This is a trusted space. This is a trusted space.
This is a trusted space. This is a trusted space.
Access free films and resources to build trusted spaces in your schools and communities at atrustedspace.org.
Live from the AM 1310 WDPN studio, it's time for live and local sports talk. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
I'm ready.
Give the show a call at 330-821-1310.
Good call, meatball.
Watch the Sam Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
But Garland's three rims out. Offensive carom for Allen. Reset Hunter. Hunter's going to hoist one. And he buries it. What a play by Jerome. Got the clean strip. Mitchell. You don't have to foul here, but you have got to come up with a stop. 5 to shoot. Turner. He puts it down. Miles Turner with the biggest shot of his season. And Indiana is up 9, and they can taste it.
And getting beat down like this, and y'all going to write some shit about us, man. And that's going to be fuel. Like, fuel for everybody. Y'all going to say a lot of y'all are. And that's what it takes. I've been here.
And so it goes. Another one of those kind of nights in Northeast Ohio. Welcome back to the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN, streaming live at AM1310WDPN.com. You can watch and listen on the WDPN X page, the Facebook page. You can also listen and watch and drop your comments on the Q92 Radio YouTube channel. Howdy ho. How we doing? Cavs drop at 114-105. They're done. Season is over. No more fun at Rocket Arena. No more. Man alive. Tell me this is a bad dream. Somebody tell me this is not happening. We're out again. For the second consecutive year, the Cavaliers have been wiped out of the second round of the NBA playoffs. This year, Indiana. Last year, New York. Pacers take us out 4-1. Indiana's going back to the Eastern Conference Finals for the second consecutive year. and the Cavaliers are going home. 330-821-1310, our poll question today. What do you do about the Cleveland Cavaliers core four? Mitchell, Mobley, Allen, and Garland. A, do you break it up? B, do you run it back? Let us know on our social media platforms on the Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. More good news today. The Guardians lose to the Milwaukee Brewers by the score of 9-5. Guards had won the last two in a row over the Brew Crew. As a matter of fact, Cleveland pitching was on fire the last two nights. On fire. Back-to-back shutouts. We were 24-17 coming in. Game was tied at 2 in the sixth inning, and the Brewers scored 3 in the sixth, 2 in the seventh, and 2 in the ninth, and they put the Guardians away 9-5. What was the attendance today? Hey, not bad. 25,063 up in Cleveland on a 76-degree Wednesday. That's pretty good. Day baseball still works. Still works. Brewers win today 9-5, so the Guards will be off the rest of the day, and they'll be off tomorrow, and then they will head on down to the Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati, and they'll take on our old buddy Tito Francona and the Reds. Baseball on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Reds are kind of hovering around the 500 mark. I think they're 20-23, something like that. So tough day for the Guards. Tough night, tough day for the Cavaliers. But so it goes. We're going to be checking in with Evan Damerel from Right Down Euclid. You can check him out on X. Does a great job following and covering the Cleveland Cavaliers. Again, the poll question today, are Cavaliers core four? What do you do? A, do you break it up? B, do you run it back? I think I'm run it back guy, but with some changes maybe to one or two of the core four. Not sold full go on Garland, and I'm not sold full go on Jared Allen yet. I just don't. I don't know. I don't know if I want to run it back all the way with the same four, because I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to get from Garland. I don't know what I'm going to get from Allen, and I'm afraid what I do know I'm going to get is not going to be enough, and they're going to have to make a change anyway. Mental toughness, physical toughness needs improved. I thought Kenny Atkinson got taught a lesson or two by Rick Carlisle. I think a little second round playoff baptism for Coach Kenny. But I'm not going to take anything away from what the Cavaliers did in the regular season. I'm not going to take anything away from the job Kenny did. I'm not going to take anything away from Evan Mobley getting the NBA Defensive Player of the Year award. But I got to see some more gusto. I got to see some fire. I got to see some juice in the postseason. We've proven we can get out of the first round. Haven't proved that we can get out of the second round. And you can only spin your wheels in the mud so many times. At some point, you have to move past. You have got to get out. Because every game that you play in the postseason, every round that you go in the postseason, more practices, more game decisions, more adjustments, that all has a little something to do. Okay, that all has a little something to do with where you're going or where you're coming from. It sounds kind of simple, and it kind of is a little simple, but you got to have that want, that fire, that burning desire, that passion to be better, to be tougher, to want it more. You know, nothing bothered me more when I was playing sports growing up. And especially once I got into my older year, like, Mighty Might baseball, forget about all that. But once you get to travel ball and you're into high school and whatever sport it is, mine was baseball. And I hated it when my coaches would say, that other team wanted it more than you. That used to tee me off. Like, what do you mean they wanted it more? And they were right most of the time. And their teams were tougher, mentally and physically. They got down by a couple of runs, they got back in the game. Their pitcher would go down 3-0 in a count, and he'd end up striking one of our guys out. Little things like that. That used to just tear at my inner fiber. They wanted it more. No, we're out here because we're just goofing around. We don't want it. Well, you had to learn the hard way. You know the Cavaliers want it, but do they want it more than Team X? Do they want to put in the effort? Do they want to continue to build with the blocks that they have? I don't know when the last time a Cleveland Cavaliers coach lit in to one of his players. I don't know when the last time I saw Paul Silas. I mean, my God, that was LeBron's rookie year. Excuse me. Old Paul wasn't afraid to get into you. He wasn't afraid to get into the media either. But when's the last time we had a coach? I mean, John Lucas? Byron Scott did a little bit. Mike Brown? No. JB Bickerstaff? Not really. He would get into the officials, but he wouldn't really light his own guys up. And I don't think Kenny Atkinson's that kind of a coach either. Just kind of leaves you asking the question, two questions. Why did it happen? And how did it happen? And what's going to be the next move? What is going to be the next move? 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. Coming up a little bit later on this day in sports history, about 5:26, 5:27 this afternoon. It's some good highlights today. And part of our On This Day in Sports History is going to revolve around Charlie Hustle, Pete Rose. And we'll get into that coming up probably here on the other side of the half hour. NFL football fans, are you ready? Are you sitting on pins and needles? Are you tailgating already? Are you about 7 or 8 beers in? The NFL schedule release is coming up tonight. Whoa, buddy. We know one of the Thanksgiving Day games in one of those NFL leaks, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Dallas Cowboys are one of the games on Thanksgiving. Opening night has Dallas and Philadelphia. So there's 2 Cowboy games already in prime time because, we can't get enough of that. Because they've won so many Super Bowls the last 15 years, we got to keep putting Dallas on TV. There's a lot of rumors around the Browns and the Bengals are going to open up against each other on week 1. I've seen a lot of that today. Nothing official yet, but the big NFL drop, the big release of the schedule is coming up early this evening, and we'll know where and what time and this and that with the Browns as far as their schedule here coming up in 2025. Guardians fall today. Cavaliers fall last night. Let's take a break. Let's regroup. Let's get those phone lines humming, 330-821-1310. You can also text if you don't have time to call. We love reading your text messages, 330-924-7088. You can also hit us up on all of our social media platforms, X, Facebook, Instagram, at 1310 WDPN, at Q92 Sports. Sam Bourquin with you on a Wednesday afternoon. I'm here. Rainsburg is over there. We'll all come back. Stay with us on 1310 WDPN.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for and there they go. Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I'm Chris Jakovic. I served in the United States Air Force, and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is "My job is people, everyone is my business." But unfortunately, in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakovic, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
All right, welcome back. We're going to be checking in with Evan Damarell from right down Euclid coming up here in a couple of minutes. Get his thoughts on the Cavaliers losing the series and the future of the Cleveland Cavaliers moving forward. Baseball final today, 25,000 plus up at the ballpark, and they saw the Guardians fall to the Milwaukee Brewers by the score of 9-5. NBA playoffs continuing tonight. A couple of series. Actually, there is one that could be a closeout tonight. That's the Minnesota Timberwolves. If they get one more win against Golden State, then the Ant-Man and the Timberwolves are moving on to the next round. Also, if the Knicks put the Celtics out tonight, if they win this one, that series is also going to be over. So, I guess misery loves company, right? All right, let's go to the 1310 WDPN hotline. Evan Damarell, right down Euclid, joining us here on the Sam Bourquin Show on this Wednesday afternoon after the season has come to an abrupt end for the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hello, Evan. How are we doing this afternoon? Not sure if we have Evan or not. I don't think we do. Don't think we do. So we'll hang up there and maybe we'll try to reconnect. I actually sound a lot different too in my headphones. I feel like I'm calling a show from another phone. There we go. That's back to normal. All right, so we'll try to get Evan here coming up soon. Apologize for some of the technical difficulties there. The Cavaliers, by the way, with their first round, they had the 28th pick in the upcoming NBA draft, so you're really not going to get any help there. Cavaliers do have some assets, so to speak. I think they still have quite a few second-round picks. I have to go back and look at that. But at this point, where the Cavaliers are at, you're not going to do anything for the draft. It's going to be figure out what you want to do with your guys, what you want to do with the core four, and I would strongly suggest holding on to Mitchell and Mobley. You're not going to be able to do a ton with free agency because of the salary cap, with a lot of the salary money that you already have eaten up. Okay, so I'm not sure what else you can do there. Okay, second time's the charm. Evan Damarell on the hotline, courtesy right down Euclid on X. You can check him out. He does a great job with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Hello, Evan. How you doing this afternoon? All right, I still don't think we have Evan. So let's shut this down for a minute, and we'll try to get him back here on the other side of the bottom of the hour break. Meanwhile, 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. I'll tell you what, let's take a look at some of the responses on X and Facebook today. We got some good ones here from the folks. So if we do get Evan, we'll push him back to the other side because we don't want to bump up into the news. Okay, on Facebook, let's see here. Christian Benson says, get rid of Okoro. Okay, I'm good with that. Dean Wade, good with that. Tristan Thompson, I'm good with that. Get a big physical man that can contribute immediately off the bench. I'm good with that. The trouble is, who are you going to get and what kind of money are you going to put out there? How are you going to do that? George says, definitely run it back, but the Cavs need to add somebody else with comparable talent as Donovan Mitchell. Easier said than done. Nate says, Sammy, you got to run it back at least one more time. Let's see here. Gary says, run it back one more time. Byron says, Sam, they need to quit being so soft. Play a little defense. That will go a long, long way. Cavaliers core 4, run it back or break it up. Let us know on all of our social media platforms. Next half hour, Kenny Atkinson. Post-game press conference. We'll check in with Kenny. We'll try to hook up with Evan Dammarell, get our phones figured out. We'll also have our On This Day in Sports History coming up at about 5:26 here this afternoon. Jeff Mears will be coming in with the local news and weather. And we'll get back in. We'll start up and we'll get back into a little discussion we had late yesterday about Pete Rose now being eligible for the Hall of Fame. But is it that simple? We'll come back and we'll talk about that as well. The news is next, right around the corner here on 1310 WDPN. It's the Sam Bourquin Show on a Wednesday afternoon here in the Carnation City. Stay with us.
Now, the latest area news on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 4:30. President Trump continues his three-nation Mideast trip today in Qatar. This visit comes after Qatar offered to give Trump a 747 luxury jet that the administration claims will be used as Air Force One. The legality of such a gift has been called into question by lawmakers on both sides of the aisle. More from ABC's Karen Travers traveling with the president in Doha.
The president has pushed back very strongly on any questions about that, whether there are ethical issues or security issues. He has forcefully defended his ability to accept a gift like this, and he calls this plane a beautiful gift and said, why wouldn't I accept it?
There were 30,000 fewer U.S. drug overdose deaths in 2024 than the previous year, the largest one-year decline ever recorded. An estimated 80,000 people died from an overdose in 2024. That's down 27% from 110,000 in 2023. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention released the data today. The CDC has been collecting comparable data for 45 years. The previous largest one-year drop was 4% in 2018. Experts say several things could be driving the decline. They include increased availability of the overdose-reversing drug naloxone, expanded addiction treatment, and shifts in how people use drugs. Another day of testimony today in the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. On the first day, R&B singer Cassie Ventura described a decade-long relationship with Combs that she said was plagued by jealousy, violence, and humiliating sex. ABC News chief investigative correspondent Aaron Katursky.
I felt disgusting, she said. I was humiliated. At first, she said I was in love and wanting to make him happy. Later, if she refused to participate, she testified she feared making Combs angry. What did Sean do when he was angry, a prosecutor asked. He would be violent with me, Ventura responded. The jury saw some of that on 2016 hotel surveillance video. Ventura said she hurried down the hall trying to escape a sexual encounter that turned violent. I got hit by Sean and I had a black eye, she said.
California Governor Gavin Newsom says his state is staring down a $12 billion deficit. The governor shared the number today as he laid out his nearly $322 billion state spending plan for the upcoming fiscal year. Newsom says the deficit is partly due to broad economic uncertainty, including ever-changing federal tariff policies and a volatile stock market. California relies heavily on revenue from a tax on capital gains. Newsom hasn't fully detailed how he'll cover the deficit, but he has proposed freezing enrollment in state-funded health care for more immigrants starting in 2026. The program is costing more than the state expected. It's 74 degrees in Alliance at 4:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Here's Mark Johnson's forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
Showers and possibly a thunderstorm on and off through your Wednesday afternoon. A lot of clouds, a high in the middle 70s. Overnight, evening rain and thunder, then cloudy for the most part, a low of 59. I am Mark J. Weather. Have a great afternoon.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-498-2098 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as one day. Just dial 1-800-498-2098 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-498-2098 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Got big dreams of a better career? Whether you're looking to learn new skills or level up in your current field, Ohio Means Jobs Stark and Tuscarawas counties is here to help you turn that daydream into your day job. We'll take care of your training costs so you can focus on building the skills you need for a brighter future in fields such as healthcare or skilled trades. Call us or visit our website at omjwork.com to learn more, because your future is closer than you think.
Beckett's amazing. He's a miracle child. In the mornings, he'll wake up and you roll the shades up and, Dada, it's time to get up. It's a bright, beautiful day.
He started getting dizzy. At the first of the year, he started going, I have to sit down, I'm dizzy, Mommy. A month after his 3rd birthday, he got diagnosed with ATRT brain cancer. All you can think of is, the kid's not going to live. The fact that St. Jude doesn't bill is a godsend. And the fact that we don't have to ask for help here makes things a lot easier to go through what we have to go through with Beckett. The fact that they are researching and they are saving these children, it's so important. We wouldn't be where we are without St. Jude, and in turn, we wouldn't be where we are without those people that have donated. They're the reason why my son's still alive.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
I wanted to quit for so long, but didn't know where to start.
I was afraid of what people would think, but then I found the right support to start my recovery journey.
I found a path that worked for me.
1 in 14 Americans reports experiencing a substance use disorder, a treatable medical condition. Treatment can take many forms, so there are a variety of options to explore and find the one that works best for you. Recovery from drug addiction is possible. Visit cdc.gov/stopoverdose to learn more about the various paths to recovery.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
And we are back 36 minutes past the hour. Phones are open, 330-821-1310. Text machine is open as well at 330-924-7088. On the text line, Marcus says, Sam, I'm in a loss. 2 years in a row. What are we doing? We'll never make it out of the second round. Love the show. I'm there with you, brother. I'm there with you. Like Donovan Mitchell said, and he said a lot last night. He did. Couple of his comments had to be bleeped out, so to speak. He says, we're not going to stop. He says, I'm not stopping. We're going to keep coming back every year. We're going to keep working hard. We're going to come in here with a smile on our face the first day of training camp, and we're going to go. So that's what they're going to do. That's all you can do. I mean, you can't quit. You can't turn tail and just stop trying. That's certainly not going to get you anywhere. What do your coaches say? You got to keep chopping wood, man. You got to keep going. Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. Check it out on all the social media platforms. Great response today. Cleveland Cavaliers core 4. A, break it up. B, run it back. A simple question, but maybe not a simple answer. A lot of caveats in there. You know what I mean? Well, I'd like to keep 3 of the guys, but maybe one of them's got to go. I'd like to keep 2, ship the other 2 out and see what we can get. Now, nobody has said, get rid of all four. I think that's insane. Bench needs depth. Hey, it's a whole new ballgame in the postseason. We've seen this now for 2 years in a row. And I'll tell you what, if you can stomach it, and I know it's probably hard now, watch some of these other games. Watch some of these other playoff games in the NBA. Watch how they play. Watch how the coaches coach. And you tell me we're bringing that same sense of urgency, of hunger. We are not. We have yet to figure out, we have yet to get to that level. I don't know how you get there, except work hard. Coach hard, work hard. Play harder. I think that's the recipe. Look how long it took Michael Jordan to get his first title. Look how long it took Jason Tatum to get his first title. Look how long it took for the Bulls to get over on the Pistons. Look how long we never got over the Bulls. But look how long it took for the Bulls to get over on the Knicks. Takes time. It's the, what am I looking for? It's the rite of passage in the NBA. You're not just going to roll in there with a couple of rookies and a couple of guys that have been in the league 3 or 4 years and a free agent, and you're just not going to. They are not going to let you waltz into the NBA Finals. It just doesn't happen. You can go back 20, 30, 40, 50 years. It doesn't happen. You got to earn your way in. Sometimes it takes 2 years. Sometimes you got to wait 5. Sometimes you have to wait 8. It's all about how long you're willing to wait, how much you're willing to absorb, and how patient you are, how patient your staff is, how patient your owner is, your general manager, the fan base, all those things come together. And then you see, and then you find out. No easy answer. Sounds easy to answer, but there's no easy answer. Me, I'm holding on to Donovan. I'm holding on to Evan. Garland and Jared Allen, I am open for business. I'm open for business. Call me. Email me. Text me. You other general managers and owners. What are you willing to give up for Jared Allen and Darius Garland? And I'm going to tell you, I'm not in the business of being fleeced. So this better work out for both parties. But then I look around the NBA. Who's going to be knocking down my door to get Jared Allen and Darius Garland? Especially the way they play in the postseason. Who is literally knocking your door down for that? I think we know the answer. So again, the Cavaliers are going to have to get really creative, whether it's Dan Gilbert, Kobe Altman, a mix of the two. You're going to have to figure some stuff out. All right, after the ball game last night, Kenny Atkinson addressed the media, the old post-game press conference, always the toughest one of the year when it's your last. Anyhow, Kenny bellied up to the podium last night. Let's go back to last evening at Rocket Arena and pick up some of the press conference last night after the Cavaliers fell to the Pacers 104-95. Here's Cavalier coach Kenny Atkinson after the game. Head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Kenny Atkinson, meeting with the media last night after a tough loss, man. When your season's over, it's a tough loss. 104-95. Pacers beat the Cavaliers in the best of 7, 4-1. 4:48 here on your Wednesday afternoon. We're going to step out. When we get back, we've got our guy, Evan Damarell, right down Euclid on X. We'll be back with Evan and more Cavs talk on 1310 WDPN. Don't go away.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I can isolate each instrument, the rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. Message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
We are back after the quick break, talking a little Cavs, little Pacers, and a little future of the Cleveland Cavaliers coming up here on the Sam Bourquin Show. Our poll question today is real simple. Cleveland Cavaliers core 4. A, run it back. B, break it up. What are you doing with the Cleveland Cavaliers core 4? All right, we are pleased to be joined, I think, by Evan Damarell. Check him out. Right.
Yeah, yeah, sorry. I thought you were going to say right down Euclid. Hey, Sam, how you doing?
Right down Euclid. Evan, good afternoon. How you doing today, my friend?
Good. How are you?
Had better days. Had better nights. What went wrong, Evan? How are we in this position again for the second time in a row? Bounced out of the second round. We got a lot of talent on this team. We got a great coach, but man, we couldn't get it. What happened?
The entire offseason for Cleveland is what went wrong. And I know folks can point to injuries quite a bit, and I do think that certainly played a part, especially in game 2. You had that heartbreaking three-pointer made by Tyrese Halliburton. But other than that, I think this is just a series where the Pacers came in and imposed their will right away, and the Cavs shrunk a little bit by that pressure and by that physicality and that pace and that space, and they tried to match the Pacers at times, and I think lost their identity in the process. Instead of being a heavy driving kick team where you had shooters just waiting all over the perimeter and letting their guards get downhill, whether it's Mitchell or Garland or even Max Strus or Sam Merrill, the pick of the litter of whoever has the ball in their hand right there at that point. But it just kind of became a little bit too quirky and too clunky, where it was a lot of your turn, my turn between Garland and Mitchell when Garland was available, or was able to paddle through the pain in his toe, or just a lot of just putting the offensive load on Mitchell's shoulders. And I think his body, unfortunately, like last year, gave out. And there's not too much you can say other than that. And it's the Cleveland lost their identity. And I think they have to do some deep soul searching this summer and just really figure out, like, what kind of team do we want to be? Are we okay with being good, possibly great, or do we want great to be the standard and championship is the expectation? And frankly, that you thought that was the thought process heading into this playoff run, but they ran into a buzzsaw in the Indiana Pacers, and they carved them up in the process.
Evan, what happened between round 1 and round 2? And I know that the Heat didn't put up much resistance. We beat them by 30.5 points a game, a combined 122 in a 4-game sweep. I was a little leery of Indiana. I didn't think they would beat us, but I was a little leery of some of the matchup problems, and that reared its ugly head. But was there anything else that you could put your finger on? What happened between round 1 and round 2, and how did it end this way?
I think maybe round 1, I don't know if it gave the team a false sense of confidence, but at least for myself and maybe others that cover this team or folks that are rooting for the Cavs and have the Cavs in their heart in terms of their fandom, think like, okay, they crushed the Heat, which are coached by one of the best coaches of the NBA in Eric Spoelstra. And sure, they no longer have Jimmy Butler, but they still have a very talented crew and cast. And there were moments the Heat put pressure on the Cavs, but the Cavs showed some really assuring signs that even if a team were to apply pressure or maybe try to play a little bit more physically, Cleveland can respond in kind by resetting the tone or just widening the gap that the Cavs have already created in terms of a lead. But maybe that's that false sense of security and confidence heading to that round against the Pacers, but it's a lot of what I said before. I think Indiana is a battle-tested team. They are a team that made the conference finals last year. Yes, they were swept by the Celtics, but you can't discredit the fact that they know what it takes to go deep into the postseason. And frankly, no one on this team other than Max Strus, who played in the NBA Finals with the Heat, or Tristan Thompson, who won a championship back in 2016, as we know, or technically Sam Merrill, who won a title with the Bucks, have not really gone very far in the playoffs. And when the pressure gets tighter and tighter, or maybe, like I said, you kind of see that hit of physicality or that hit of just like a tempo or mood change coming from Indiana side of things, it just resets the tone entirely. And it's really hard to kind of bounce back from that, especially when maybe you're dealing with a rash of injuries. And also just the fact that the Pacers are an unrelenting team. Like the Cavs really didn't have a chance to catch their breath at times just because Indiana would keep running them up and down the floor and then would maybe not a hockey substitution, but just sub in such enough fresh bodies that it was consistently just at that pace and at that speed to just make your head spin, and for the Cavs to kind of have to force themselves to play catch up the entire time.
Evan, were you a little surprised? It looked like at times in this season, our guys were gassed. They were dragging. And I'm going back, okay, I'm thinking of the Miami series. We didn't really exert a whole lot of energy. We had a week off before the Miami series. We had a week off after the Miami series. Pacers were pushed one extra game against Milwaukee, a big comeback to get them there. I guess I'm a little worried and disappointed at how we ran out of gas. We should have had a lot of energy in the tank for this round, and we didn't.
Yeah, that's the surprising thing. I think a lot of it is the tone setting situation. Darius Garland himself said that they just kind of set the tone right away, and Donovan Mitchell had said that as well. And I think you can just really credit Rick Carlisle for pulling the right levers and pulling the right punches. And I just think maybe this is just weirdly enough a Pacers team that has Cleveland's number. Shout out to the NBA subreddit where they pointed out that the Cavs had only lost 22 games total this season, playoffs and regular season combined, and 7 of those losses came to the Pacers. This is just a team that, for whatever reason, has Cleveland's number this season, and whether it's the fact that they have size at every position so they can kind of pressure Garland and Mitchell a little bit more, the fact that Mitchell's having a hard time getting around with the calf injury, the knee injury, and the ankle injury, or you have Garland struggling with the toe injury and the foot injury as well, so he doesn't have his burst and his stop and go that he normally does. And you and I talked about that before, but it's just a shame just because I think injuries really did have an impact on how the Cavs operate, but the Pacers dictated the flow of how this game was going to go. And the Cavs, instead of trying to do what they did against the Heat, where they responded by resetting the table and putting things on their terms, try to match how Indiana plays. And it's just not an apples to apples thing where the Cavs can just pick it up and copy exactly what the Pacers are doing. The Cavs just abandoned kind of who their identity was and what their style is. And I think that's the tricky part. And probably the most disappointing thing is they're more than capable of doing that against Miami in the first round. But in the second round, it fizzled out. And the Cavs kind of found themselves reeling for the better part of the series. I mean, game 3 notwithstanding, that felt like an encouraging turnaround for them. But then you look at how the Pacers responded in kind of game 4, it just felt like it was all for nothing.
Evan, what did you make of Donovan Mitchell at the press conference table after the game last night?
Donovan Mitchell, I empathize with as a human being because his reaction to this loss and then him sitting on the bench in his jersey, just looking around at the stadium and just afterwards admitting that they let the city down, he let the team down, and it was a they and me thing that he was saying. But this is a guy that gets out of bed every single day and is pushed to be one of the all-time greats. But for his entire career, and I believe he has made the playoffs every single season in his NBA career, he's never made it out of any further than the second round of the playoffs, whether that's with the Jazz or the Cavs. And I think that is something that really does eat at him quite a bit, just because I think that does separate him from being considered, one of the league's very best. Because if you look at the counting stats or the individual accolades or how he performs or all the all-star appearances, yes, Donovan Mitchell is, I'd say, arguably one of the best players at his position. And you could say it's Devin Booker or somebody else that has the lead ahead of him. But for Mitchell, he knows it's about championships. He knows regular season success means nothing. And I think the fact that he went to the podium and admitted, like, yeah, I'm frustrated, I'm disappointed, also like, this has to be a wake-up call. Like, we have to really play with that sense of urgency, and we have to really dictate the idea that starting the season 15-0 or having one of the greatest offensive seasons ever just really means nothing, because come playoff time, this is all you're going to be remembered for. And I think that was the right mindset. I think a lot of the players had that coming into the playoffs, saying, like, none of this means anything if we don't win a championship. But the fact that they were just there and frankly were humbled by the Pacers quite a bit really is sobering for them. And I hope, at least for Mitchell, it's encouraging, but you hope that that message trickles down to everybody on the roster, especially if Cleveland, either they end up making a bunch of moves this offseason or they kind of stick with what they have and make moves on the edge. But you hope that message translates to everybody on this team so that they know, like, hey, like, regular season success doesn't mean anything at the end of the day. It's about getting to the conference finals. It's about getting to the NBA finals. It's about playing meaningful basketball until late May, early June, and, you know, being considered one of the all-time greatest. And you don't want to be known as the Peyton Manning Indianapolis Colts at the end of it all, where you just put up impressive numbers every single regular season just to lose every single time around. And I don't really see a Tom Brady in the Eastern Conference next season, so maybe there's a path for the Cavs to finally reach that goal. But yeah, the Pacers definitely humbled them in the process, and I think that that's definitely discouraging for them. And the fact that Mitchell is completely transparent about it really does help quite a bit, just to show, at least give you a little bit of an insider look on what is this team's mentality after this. Like, they aren't being complacent. They want to try and be great.
Well, that's the goal, and hopefully they can somehow find a way to get there, if not next year, the year after, or the year after that. And, well, we know how the rest of that goes. Evan, we appreciate you joining us today. You can check out Evan Demerel at Right Down Euclid on X. Does a great job covering your Cleveland Cavaliers. Evan, appreciate the time. Wish it was on better circumstances, but we'll keep fighting the fight. We always appreciate your time. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely. Take care.
There you go, Evan Demerel at Right Down Euclid on X. You can check him out right now. Yeah. You heard Donovan Mitchell at the press conference. He owned it. He talked it. Now we got to walk it. And so does the rest of the Cleveland Cavaliers organization. All right, we're going to step away. News and weather, top of the hour, all coming up here on the Sam Bourquin Show. We got the poll question of the day. We got On This Day in Sports History coming up. We'll check on the Guardians and a whole lot more. Stay with us.
Keeping Alliance entertained and informed for over a half a century. AM 1310 WDPN Alliance.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Demonstrators interrupted a hearing today as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy testified on recent cuts to agencies, including the FDA, National Institutes of Health, and Medicaid. ABC's Jay O'Brien has more.
This is a hearing that focuses on the HHS budget, but it's the opportunity for members of both sides of the aisle to ask Kennedy some pointed questions, not just on his medical advice, but also on changes he's made at that agency, at career vaccine officials at FDA, for instance, resigning, as happened a few months ago.
Recent outages of radar screens at Newark Liberty International Airport and cancellations and delays were the center topic at another hearing on Capitol Hill. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy telling lawmakers the Trump administration plans to revamp air traffic control across the country. And in California, an LA County judge re-sentenced Eric and Lyle Menendez, reducing their sentences to 50 years with the possibility of parole. This is ABC News.
If you're waiting for summer deals to refresh your home, don't wait any longer, because Macy's Memorial Day presale is happening now. From backyard hosting to indoor updates, find the perfect pieces for every space, like amazing outdoor furniture sets, customer favorites like the Radley Sectional, and top mattress brands like Tempur-Pedic. Come in and get early access to incredible deals. We're talking 20 to 65% off before the official sale begins on Friday at Macy's. Savings off already reduced prices. Exclusions apply.
At Straight Talk, we are all about no-brainers. Calling grandma for her recipe, no-brainer. Streaming one more episode at 2 a.m., big no-brainer. Getting real unlimited data where you buy bananas, the ultimate no-brainer. Switch now and get a free Samsung Galaxy A16 5G or Moto G Power 5G 2024 with select plans. Straight Talk, real unlimited data. Available at Walmart and straighttalk.com. Offer valid through 5/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Requires in-store single line activation on qualifying plan. For network management practices, visit straighttalk.com/terms. Copyright.
Now, the latest Alliance area news from Jeff Mears on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon, it's 5:02. This news a service of Bonfort Glass. Details are emerging about the death of a 3-year-old Canton boy whose foster parents are charged with involuntary manslaughter and child endangering. Court records state that 42-year-old Demetrius Givens and 37-year-old Jamie Thompson of Canton refused to properly feed and care for the child, causing him to starve to death. Due to his malnutrition, the couple had been advised to seek medical help, but they allegedly refused to work with medical professionals and canceled multiple appointments. The activity occurred between October 1st and May 4th. Canton police were called to the boy's Gilbert Circle Northeast home May 5th about a report he wasn't breathing. He died at Mercy Hospital. Warrants for Givens and Thompson were issued 4 days later, and they turned themselves in Tuesday. They are scheduled for arraignment tomorrow in Canton Municipal Court. A man faces a potential indictment for a 2-vehicle crash involving an off-duty Alliance police officer. The case of 53-year-old Martin Flattinger of Homeworth was bound over to the Stark County Grand Jury today after he waived a preliminary hearing in Alliance Municipal Court. He's charged with felonious assault and OVI. Flattinger is accused of rear-ending a car driven by 52-year-old Michael Donnelly in the 2300 block of South Union Avenue Monday night. When Donnelly attempted to stop to exchange information in the 2000 block, Flattinger's vehicle struck the car again. Donnelly was taken to Alliance Community Hospital with neck and back injuries. Flattinger is free after posting bond. A settlement has been reached in a lawsuit between the city of Canton and the developers of apartments at the former Hercules engine plant. The repository reports Mayor William Scheer says the 4 investors have agreed to make the city whole. 90 market-rate apartments were built at the Market Avenue South property, which opened in 2018. The developers reportedly began falling behind on payments the following year and then missed payments altogether. The project received a $3 million loan from the Stark Community Foundation for the first phase. A 30-year tax increment financing plan was enacted to help fund the second phase of development, which was to include retail and office space. The investors reportedly offered to pay $1 million within 90 days to settle the lawsuit. Total repayments could reach $2.5 million in principal and interest. Council approved the plan Monday. Smith Township trustees handled miscellaneous issues Tuesday. The board hired Matt Springer as a road department employee. He replaces Bob Ritchie, who retired. Trustees also hired Richard Dean on a part-time basis to mow North Benton Park. Trustee Terry Chris says new playground equipment will be installed at Maple Ridge Park by the end of the month. Grants and private donations paid for the $147,000 purchase. A new furnace and air conditioning unit was installed at the township offices last week. Trustees paid about $2,000 of the $10,000 cost. The rest was covered by the Northeast Ohio Public Energy Council. State lawmakers are considering an increase in the fee that pays for equipment for each county's 911 system. The House is proposing a 20-cent increase, while the Senate is considering raising it to $1.25. It's currently a 40-cent fee per line or device. The Morning Journal reports Columbiana County 911 Coordinator Brian Rutledge is telling residents, local officials, and the county's 911 committee to urge state lawmakers to approve an increase. In an email Tuesday, he provided an update about the fee proposal. Rutledge says most of the fee goes to the state and the county receives only a small portion. Opponents claim maintaining the current fee will give the state a surplus. It's not clear how money from an increase will be distributed to counties. Friday is the deadline for any amendments to pending legislation. A vacant seat on East Palestine Village Council has been filled. Members appointed Erin Stauffer during Monday's meeting. She succeeds Jessica Rocco, who resigned last month. Rocco also was the chair of the Recreation, Parks, and Cemetery Committee. Councilman Doug Simpson stepped down in October, protesting the treatment of former village manager Chad Edwards. He was replaced by Barb Harriet. Councilwoman Linda May died in December. John Simon was appointed to fill her seat. Authorities are investigating after human remains were discovered in Trumbull County. A man called 911 Tuesday and said he believed he had found his uncle. The remains were in a garage on Herner County Line Road Northwest in Southington. The property is owned by Robert Wolf, who was reported missing in February. The sheriff's office says the identification and cause of death are pending autopsy results from the coroner's office. Preliminary assessments indicate the person may have been in the garage for an extended period. An autopsy is scheduled for Friday. The state fire marshal's office is investigating the cause of a house fire near Warren that turned fatal. Firefighters were called to the 300 block of Aspen Drive Northwest in Champion Township around 7:30 this morning. 2 residents escaped on their own. Crews rescued a third from the second floor. The home's roof and attic were destroyed. The Trumbull County Coroner's Office later said a man died. They did not release his name. A fire captain suffered facial burns, and Police Chief Larry Skaggs suffered from smoke inhalation. Both were taken to a hospital. They are expected to recover. Humane agents say they rescued 56 cats from what they describe as a hoarding situation in Boardman. The animals were removed from a home on Glenwood Avenue Tuesday afternoon. They're now being cared for by Animal Charity of Ohio. In a Facebook post, the organization says their shelter is now in extreme need of items, including cat litter, litter boxes, and cat food. Former Austintown Township trustee Steve Kent wants to get out of prison early. He submitted a motion for judicial release to Mahoning County Common Pleas Court Tuesday. He's serving time following his conviction on a tampering with evidence charge in August 2023. Prosecutors said Kent reset his cell phone to impede an investigation against him. He was previously charged with having a sexual relationship with a Poland high school student while he was working as a resource officer. Kent was acquitted of the charges and released from the county jail last October after being granted a stay in the case. His appeal for early release was denied in September. A case of measles has been confirmed in Cuyahoga County. The child, who was not vaccinated for measles, was treated at Hillcrest Hospital earlier this month, according to the Cuyahoga County Board of Health. Case was reported May 4th and officially confirmed 2 days later. The child first visited Hillcrest for lab work and returned to the ER May 4th, where the measles diagnosis was made. The child is isolating at home. Officials say the public may have been exposed on May 2nd between 3:50 and 6:15 p.m. in the atrium lobby of Hillcrest Hospital. A person is considered immune to measles if they've had 2 doses of the MMR vaccine, were born before 1957, or have had blood work showing measles immunity. The state auditor has released a final audit on the Columbus Zoo and Aquarium. The report details where more than $2.3 million of zoo funding was spent on suites and tickets to concerts and sporting events, golf memberships, personal vacations, and vehicles for benefit of the zoo's executive team. According to the report, about $1.4 million was spent on tickets and events related to the Columbus Blue Jackets and Ohio State University. The zoo merged 2 separate boards into a single, smaller board of directors with appointments from the Franklin County Commissioners and the City of Columbus. State Auditor Keith Faber says it's possible the scheme stretched back farther than 2011, but he is confident in the changes implemented by current zoo leadership to prevent it from happening in the future. Taking a look at Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average closed today at 42,051, down 89 points. The Nasdaq Composite ended the day 137 points higher at 19,146, and the S&P 500 closed at 5,892, up 6 points. It's 74 degrees in Alliance at 5:09. This is the local edition of WDPN News, a service of Bonford Glass. I'm Jeff Mears.
For over 80 years, Bonford Glass has been the expert when it comes to glass. You can count on the professionals at Bonford's for the latest techniques in glass repair, like the Aegis windshield repair system. The Aegis system can repair small chips in your windshield before they grow into big headaches. This revolutionary process takes less than an hour and can easily restore your windshield to its original strength. In fact, the Aegis windshield repair system is so effective that most insurance companies will waive the deductible and cover the entire amount of the repair, saving you and your insurance company up to 80% of the cost of a windshield replacement. The Aegis windshield repair system, just one of the expert repairs from Bonford Glass. They'll help you save money and make your windshield safer. Bonford Glass. Call 330-823-0450 or stop by at 30 South Union Avenue in Alliance.
Meteorologist Mark Johnson has the latest forecast on AM 1310 WDPN.
76 warm degrees. That's not bad. The problem is we got some rain and thunderstorms moving in for the afternoon, on and off. Grab the umbrella. Overnight, evening rain and thunder, then drying out. Our low 59. I am Mark J. Weather from News 5.
Do you have trouble getting in and out of the bathtub? Are you afraid you'll slip and fall entering or exiting a tub? Safe Step walk-in tubs can transform your bathtub from an area of concern to a calming refuge. Call them today at 1-800-498-2098 and save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs and showers are proudly made in Tennessee and offer an ultra-low step-in, avoiding that difficult climb over a traditional bathtub wall. They also offer a variety of therapeutic benefits that may help soothe your aching muscles and joints, increasing your mobility, boosting your energy, and improving your sleep. Safe Step walk-in tubs are designed to easily fit your existing tub space and are often installed in as little as 1 day. Just dial 1-800-498-2098 today to save $1,600 and receive a free shower package. That's 1-800-498-2098 for a free no-obligation consultation and to save $1,600. Safe Step walk-in tubs. Safety never felt so good.
Live from the AM 1310 WDPN studio, it's time for live and local sports talk. It's the Sam Bourquin Show.
I'm ready.
Give the show a call at 330-821-1310.
Good call, meatball.
Watch the Sam Bourquin Show on the AM 1310 Facebook page, the Q92 YouTube page, and on X. This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Garland's three rims out. Offensive carom for Allen. Reset Hunter. Hunter's going to hoist one. Buries it. What a play by Jerome. He had the clean strip. Mitchell. You don't have to foul here, but you have got to come up with a stop. 5 to shoot. Turner. He puts it down. Miles Turner with the biggest shot of his season. And Indiana is up 9, and they can taste it.
And getting beat down like this, and y'all been right. You feel like, feel y'all gonna say a lot. Y'all up. And that's what it takes. I've been here.
Welcome back. Wipe the tears away, everybody. It's the Sam Bourquin Show, AM 1310 WDPN. We have got one more big hour to go. Whew. Well, that'll eat you up, won't it? Hey, like I said last hour, laugh or cry. Laugh or cry. That's what we're here for. 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310 is our telephone number. You can always text the show on the text line at 330-924-7088. Cavaliers fall to the Pacers last night, 104-95. They are done as the Pacers give them the old gentleman's sweep, 4 games to 1. Guardians lose today to the Milwaukee Brewers by the score of 9-5. But the Guardians took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers, so that's good. Cleveland now with a day off tomorrow. They will head to Cincinnati on Friday, and we'll get together with our old buddy, Tito Francona, down there in Cincinnati, as the Guards and Reds will get together Friday, Saturday, and Sunday down at the Great American Ballpark. Your thoughts on the Cavaliers, your feelings on the Cavaliers after they lost another tough game last night. Again, had a 19-point lead. Let it slip away. They never could regather their footing. That's the thing that eats me alive the most, is you started off like a house on fire again. You build a 10, 15, 17, 19-point lead, and then something happened. I don't know what it was. Either Indiana figured you out, you got complacent, you quit being aggressive, you thought this was in the bag, you were making plans to go to Indiana on whatever night, Thursday, and everything just stopped. And before you knew it, that 19-point lead was whittled down to 12. Then it was 9. Then it was 4. Then it was gone. How many times have we seen this movie? How many times have we read this script? And for the second year in a row, the Cavaliers are bounced out of the second round of the NBA playoffs. And this year really stings. You won 64 games. You worked so hard. You worked so hard to get home court advantage throughout the NBA playoffs. What the hell else do you want? You've got home floor the whole way. Didn't matter. You never even made it out of the second round again. Now, granted, the other half of that equation, the Boston Celtics, probably not going to make it out either. Yeah, they've got some issues and troubles of their own One being the salary cap implications beginning next year, and number two is their main guy going to ever be what he used to be, and that's Jason Tatum. I'm not worried about the Celtics. They're still playing. I'm not worried about the Thunder. I don't care about the Timberwolves. I'm not worried about the Nuggets. I don't give a rat's patoot about Steph Curry. My team is out. My team is out. And we're sitting here again holding the bag in the middle of the month of May, and we're done. Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. Real simple, but maybe the answer is not that simple. The question is, the Cleveland Cavaliers core four. Do you break it up? Do you run it back? Garland, Mobley, Mitchell, Allen. A, do you break it up? B, do you run it back? 330-821-1310. You can text the show 330-924 7088. That is our Sam Bourquin Show poll question of the day. And if you're watching on the Q92 radio page and the YouTube channel, you can see that poll question scrolling along at the bottom of your screen. We try to make it nice and easy for you. We try to make it as interactive a show as possible for you, and we certainly appreciate the feedback that you've been giving us here the first 2.5 weeks here on the Sam Bourquin Show on 1310 WDPN. Coming up here in about 8 or 9 minutes, we're going to have This Day in History and Sports History as we look back at some of the big doings on May the 14th over the years. We're also going to get a little bit into the Pete Rose situation, which broke. I think it broke during the show yesterday, or maybe it broke after. I'm not sure. My mind is going 100 miles an hour. But anyhow, Pete Rose is now eligible to go into the Hall of Fame. So is Shoeless Joe Jackson and some others. Rob Manfred lifted that ban yesterday. But is it really that simple? You know darn well, and I don't know most of the baseball writers personally. I know a couple of them. Most of them I do not. Is it going to be as simple as, yeah, the ban's been lifted, let's put Pete in? It ain't going to be that simple. I know there's guys that'll never vote Pete Rose in. They'll never vote him in. Some baseball writers will vote him in right now. Some will not. Some will point to some of the other stuff that happened after he was banned for gambling. Some of the other things that kind of popped up over the years. I've thought for years, decades, Pete Rose should be in the Hall of Fame. I would have preferred that he got in while he was still alive. Now, if he gets in, he's going to go in posthumously, and as we all know, that's not the same. And I'm interested in the timing of this announcement that was made by the commissioner yesterday. There's a reason. You learn this when you're really young. There is usually a reason for everything. There is a reason for everything. It's all about the timing. It's all about the who's and the where's and the why's in the hows. It's never just, hey, I woke up today, we're going to let Pete in the... It doesn't work like that. There's always a motive by somebody about the timing of a particular announcement. Was Manfred getting heat? Did he want to bring more eyeballs and to Major League Baseball for a couple of days? Did he want to get people away from the NBA? Get people quit talking about the NFL? I mean, it is what it is. He made the announcement, but why was it yesterday? After all this time? Did he wake up on the right side of the bed and look in the mirror and go, you know what? Today's going to be the day. Today I lift the ban on Shoeless Joe. and Charlie Hustle. And now they're eligible to get into the Hall of Fame. Today's going to be the day. Why was yesterday the day? I can't answer that question, but I certainly would like to know the answer. And is it going to be as simple as, all right, Pete, you're in? I don't think it's going to be that simple. What's your thoughts on the ban being lifted for Pete Rose? And Shoeless Joe Jackson, the Black Sox scandal back in the day. 330-821-1310, 330-821-1310. Should Pete have been in a long time ago? Should he have been put in the Hall of Fame a long time ago? Is it kind of crap that he had to wait this long after he had passed away? I want to get your thoughts on that, because that's been a pretty good conversation, a pretty good argument over the years. You know, the question, the long question: should Pete Rose be in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no? It's always been out there. It's like it almost got as tired as who's better, Jordan or LeBron? Who's the GOAT? Should Pete be in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no? Well, after all these years, after the Bart Giamatti is the guy that put the ban on him to begin with, and all the other guys that followed kept the ban on. Faye Vincent, everybody on down the line. Who was the guy that the old Brewers, Bud Selig? Oh my God, he never lifted the ban. Rob Manfred never lifted the ban until yesterday. You think they did Pete dirty? Or, hey, you bet on sports? Some other things have kind of surfaced over the last couple of years. Maybe people are like, you know what? We're good. We don't need to hear the name Pete Rose. We don't want to go down that rabbit hole every time we talk about the Hall of Fame. We don't want to talk about Pete Rose. We don't want to talk about the baseball writers. We don't want to talk about the scandal. We don't want to talk about the ban. Let's just distance ourselves from the whole situation. Let's just distance ourselves from it. Kind of curious about your thoughts there. The timing of the announcement by Commissioner Manfred, and do you think Pete will get voted in now? Because he's still got to get voted in. 330-821-1310. We'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll get you all set for On This Day in Sports History. We'll take your calls. We'll read your text. We'll continue to break down the Cavaliers and look ahead to their future. And we'll check in on the Guardians and Brewers today up in Cleveland. Much more to come. Hang out with us here on a Wednesday afternoon, 1310 WDPN.
In classrooms across the country, chronic absenteeism is on the rise.
Sophia A., grade 4, absent.
Julio M., grade 6, absent.
Aisha S., grade 12, absent.
These absences are often due to the absence of crucial needs, like transportation, healthcare, a working computer, mental health support. The list goes on.
Olivia H., absent.
Preston L., absent.
Chloe B., absent.
The reasons why they're absent are very real. And yet the solution is someone present to help them along their path. When site coordinators from communities and schools are on hand, they connect kids to the resources they need. And when they do, 99% of students are present and remain in school throughout the year.
Jacob O., grade 10,
present.
Communities and Schools works directly with students, helping them overcome obstacles to succeed in school and in life. Learn more at communitiesinschools.org. Being present matters.
Possibilities are all around us. Everywhere we look, we see opportunity in unexpected places. And when we share our knowledge, vision, and connections, we turn great ideas into action in communities all around the world that we call home. Like transforming an old bus to feed hungry children, or providing life-saving equipment to those who need it most. From fighting disease to rebuilding schools, together we can make real change happen. We're Rotary. We are people of action. Get involved today at Rotary.org/action.
Did you know that those with mental health challenges can be right in front of our eyes, but still go unseen? Behind some smiles, there's hidden pain because our struggles aren't always on the surface. And they can affect anyone, anywhere, at any time. It's okay not to feel okay. There's strength in connecting and seeking help. Share, connect, get informed. Your mental health is in your hands. Visit melaninThriving.com/mental health in your hands.
This message brought to you by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation.
This place has a pulse. You hear it in the canopy, feel it in the ground. Life, fully illuminated, engulfs you. From the birds singing in the treetops above to the tiniest insects in the soil below, you take a deep, cleansing breath, filling your lungs with the essence of the forest. Now, imagine it's all gone. Healthy, life-giving forests reduced to nothing. No singing birds, no lush canopy, and water and food in short supply around the world. Time is running out to protect our forests, and without our love, they can and will disappear. It's our choice. Love it or lose it. Help protect our forests. Visit World Wildlife Fund at wwf.org/love.
And we're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go! Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
When I smoke weed, I get lost in the music. I like to isolate each instrument. The rhythmic bass, the harmonies on the piano, the sticky melody.
Hey, careful, babe. There's someone crossing the street.
Sorry, I didn't see him there.
If you feel different, you drive different. Don't drive high. It's dangerous and illegal everywhere. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
Here we go. Welcome back. Sam Bourquin Show, 1310 WDPN. You know what time it is. On this day in sports history, on this day in 1874, McGill University and Harvard met in Cambridge, Massachusetts for the first college football game to charge admission. Yeah, I think you're getting in for free in 1904 in St. Louis, the Olympic Games were held. First time the games were played in the U.S. On this day in 1906, a flagpole at the White Sox ballpark broke during the pennant-raising ceremony. How about that? 1918, Sunday baseball games were made legal in Washington, D.C. 1918, Stan Kovaleski of the Cleveland Indians set a club record when he pitched 19 innings in one game. On this day in 1986, Reggie hit his 537th home run. He passed Mickey Mantle to move into sixth place on the all-time list. On this day in 1995, Eddie Murray hit number 463, move him up to 18th on the all-time home run list. And back in 1997, the Baseball Executive Council suspended New York Yankees owner George Steinbrenner. All right, here we go. Audio time, 1971. Mickey Mantle steps to the plate looking for number 500. There it is. Mickey Mantle, number 500. Now, we told you yesterday, and we've been talking about it today, Pete Rose, the ban is over. He can now hopefully get voted into the Baseball Hall of Fame. A couple of milestones we'll never forget from Charlie Hustle. Hit number 3,000, and then hit number 4192. There's the fireworks. Old Charlie Hustle. Number 4192 to pass Ty Cobb. That is on this day in sports history. The news is next on 1310 WDPN.
The latest news and the current Alliance area weather forecast are up next on AM 1310 WDPN.
Good afternoon. It's 5:30. Today, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is getting grilled by lawmakers on the House Appropriations Committee concerning his agency's budget. More from ABC's Jay O'Brien.
This is a hearing that focuses on the HHS budget, but it's the opportunity for members of both sides of the aisle to ask Kennedy some pointed questions, not just on his medical advice, but also on changes he's made at that agency, at career vaccine officials at FDA, for instance, resigning, as happened a few months ago, and even on HHS's reversal now that we've reported at length of the firings of these 100 plus healthcare workers at HHS who were tasked with running a healthcare program that specifically helped protect coal miners from black lung.
President Trump says he urgently wants to make a deal with Iran to wind down its nuclear program, but he says Tehran must end its support of proxy groups throughout the Mideast as part of any potential agreement. Trump is in the midst of a three-country visit to the region. Today, he discussed Iran's rapidly advancing nuclear program in one-on-one talks with Qatar's emir. The American president expressed measured confidence that the U.S. effort with Tehran would work out one way or another. In earlier comments in Saudi Arabia, Trump made clear he expected Tehran to end its role as the chief financial backer of the militant groups. Before landing in Qatar, Trump spoke to reporters about his meeting with Syria's new president and how he thought it went. ABC News White House correspondent Karen Travers is traveling with the president and has more.
President Trump holding a historic meeting in Riyadh Wednesday morning with the new president of Syria, the first engagement by a U.S. president with a Syrian leader in 25 years. The president on Air Force One en route to Qatar telling reporters about the meeting.
Right, I think very good. Young, attractive guy, tough guy. Strong pass. Very strong pass fighter.
The meeting with President al-Shara comes just after President Trump announced he is taking first steps toward normalizing relations with Syria and is moving to lift U.S. sanctions on Syria. Karen Travers, ABC News, traveling with the president in Doha.
A former model has reproached one of Harvey Weinstein's lawyers for suggesting that her sexual abuse allegations against the ex-studio boss are lies. Kaja Sokolow told the attorney today that she was telling the truth and that he should be ashamed of himself. Sokolow finished 5 days of testimony at Weinstein's sex crimes retrial. She says Weinstein repeatedly offered to foster her acting ambitions, but then made unwanted physical advances beginning when she was 16. Weinstein faces a sexual assault charge related to her allegation of forced sex about 4 years earlier. He also faces charges based on two other women's claims. He has pleaded not guilty. It's 74 degrees in Alliance at 5:32. This is WDPN News. I'm Jeff Mears.
Now, the Alliance Area Weather Forecast from Mark Johnson on AM 1310 WDPN.
For the afternoon hours today, cloudy skies, scattered rain, maybe a rumble of thunder. Grab the umbrella. 76 degrees for the high. More scattered rain and thunder during the evening, and then just cloudy. Our low 59. I am Art J. Weather. Have a great Wednesday.
At YMCA Summer Camp, kids find their why. Friendship and fun, a world of adventure beneath a golden sun. Running, laughing, full of wonder. Being themselves is second nature. Summer camp is where they begin to unlock the confidence that lies within. When kids find new passions, they find their why. Summer camp season starts soon. Learn more at ymca.org for a better us.
I'm Chris Jakimick. I served in the United States Air Force and I deployed 3 times. So in 2017, I was serving as an Air Force First Sergeant. Our motto in that role is my job is people, everyone is my business. But unfortunately in that year, I would lose my own brother, Lance Corporal Adam Jakimick, to suicide. The majority of veteran suicides are from guns. I store my weapons securely, not only for myself, but for my family. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide. My service never stops.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
And we're back, 1310 WDPN, streaming live at am1310WDPN.com, 5:37 on your Wednesday afternoon. Hope you've enjoyed the program today. Thanks to Evan Demerel from right down Euclid, talking a little Cavs Pacers and future of the Cleveland Cavaliers today. The Guardians fell to the Milwaukee Brewers, if you missed it, 9-5. Boy, the Brew Crew brought the bats out today. 9 runs on 13 hits. The Guards, 5 runs on 7 hits. They had over 25,000 today up at Progressive Field. Beautiful day, but not a good day for the pitchers for the, almost called them the Indians, 9-5. Does it matter if I slip up, if people slip up and call them the Indians? I mean, do people get offended? Do they get all bent out of shape? Oh, you mean the Guardians?
Sam, I think some people, there's probably definitely some people that get offended when you call them the Guardians because that's their Indians and it'll always be their Indians.
I'm just wondering if, like, because I really, honest to God, I really try not to screw that up. I try to do the right thing. But at the end of the day, does anybody really care? I mean, are you offended? He said Indians. He called them the tribe. He must be. I mean, seriously. I don't know. And if anybody wants to have an argument there,
I think I'm okay.
You'll lose that argument.
But
Put it that way.
It's not offending me. So
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess I'm starting not to even feel bad if I screw it up anymore. Does that make people mad? I mean, I really don't care at this point. It is what it is. I try to call them the Guardians. Look, I called them the Indians. It just rolled off the tongue. Let's go Tribe. Indians baseball. It just rolls off the tongue. Sorry. You good with that, Mears?
Jeff agrees.
Come on in here. I want to talk to you about Pete Rose, too. I mean, I guess I'm at the point now where I guess I don't care if I screw up and call him by the wrong thing. Well, I just don't.
Well,
should I care?
Well, when you call a team by one name for, well, in my case, well over 30 years, yours more than that.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard to break a habit,
It is.
I mean, even Tom Hamilton, how many times does he screw that up?
Right.
Notice when he goes to the local break, he says the Cleveland Clinic. The Cleveland Clinic. He's supposed to be saying the Cleveland Clinic Guardians Radio Network.
Right.
But he's just saying the Cleveland Clinic Network or something like that. It's like he's just dropping because he just knows he's going to say the wrong thing.
Yeah, he just goes right over it.
I just wonder.
Yeah, I think. I bet if Tom was in here, he would agree with me 100%. I just think that's where we're at. And if you're out there getting offended over a slip of the tongue, then that's your problem, not mine. That's just the way I look at it. I wanted to have you in here. I know you're a big Pete Rose guy.
Mm-hmm.
And of course they lifted the ban yesterday. Now eligible to be voted into the Hall of Fame, along with Shoeless Joe Jackson and some other characters of decades gone by in Major League Baseball. I was a little curious about the timing that Commissioner Manfred made this proclamation yesterday. I don't know. There's usually an ulterior motive somewhere about timing of announcements. I guess we'll find that out down the road. But what did you make of it? And does it bother you at all that if Pete eventually gets in, it's going to be posthumously, and obviously he's not going to be around to enjoy it, to see it, to get all his accolades? Where do you sit with that?
I guess I had mixed feelings about it. I was, you got the chance to actually see the man play. I'm sure of that.
Not in person.
Not in person, but you were certainly around when he was still
a little bit on television. Yeah. I didn't get to see him play a lot with the Reds. A couple years, and then he went to Philly, and then he went to Montreal, and then back to Cincinnati. Yeah. So I got to see. I mean, obviously, I've seen a lot more highlights. YouTube This Week in Baseball. Dun 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 dun. Hello, everybody. I mean, I've seen a lot of that. But as far as, I'd never got to go to the park and watch Charlie Hustle play. Obviously, something I missed out on. But I know a lot of people come from different sides of the argument with Pete, even before this announcement was made to give him the ability to be voted in. It was like, yes or no. Does Pete Rose belong in the Hall of Fame? Yes or no? You got actually from both sides.
Yeah, I've definitely got mixed feelings about it. And it isn't because I felt particularly strongly about one thing versus the other. It's just like I can see both sides of this. Mm-hmm. I mean, how we talk about, people that are in the public eye. Can you separate the art from the artist?
Right.
This is one of those sort of situations. Some more than others, but this is a good example of that. I don't think there's any argument, regardless of how you felt about Pete Rose as an individual, anything he did off the field, anything he did in his own time. When he came to play, and that's why he was called Charlie Hustle. That wasn't meant to be, an insult. When people said that, they meant it, because that was what you got on the field every day he came out. Even in his later years, when he was, he still came with that certain, I guess you'd say, determination, intensity. Those are the words I'm looking for. When he was working as a player manager for the Reds, when he came back in the 80s, you still saw that at work there. And I started really watching the game when I was about 10.
Okay.
And of course, like you, the Indians were my team, but I had nothing against the Reds, because they were the other team in Ohio. It's just, they were the better team even then at that point. But, I had nothing against them, but I certainly knew of him by reputation, and, when he was still managing when I started paying attention to the game. And so knowing what he had accomplished as a player, for Bart Giamatti to implement that lifetime ban on him, given the allegations, I don't know that I was necessarily surprised, but it still kind of hurt in a certain sense. You hate to see somebody who did so much for the game do that. I mean, it really wasn't about so much for me about what he was accused of doing and whether it was worth being banned for or not. It was just, it happened, and you just had to deal with it. And he didn't make any friends with how he dealt with it, at least early on.
No,
that hurt him in the long run, I think.
Yeah, he didn't. I mean, old Pete, he stuck by his guns until the day that he passed. I mean, I can tell you that I had friends who would happen to be out in Vegas, and they would be walking through the lobby of a certain hotel, and Pete was in there hawking autographs almost till the day he took his last breath. And sometimes he would engage in a conversation. And he was never sorry, really, for the betting on baseball. He was never really, I mean, he admitted it, but I don't recall a full-fledged apology. And maybe that kind of rubbed people the wrong way as well. The Pete Rose that I grew up with, and this was through my grandparents, my grandmother was a unbelievable Pete Rose fan. I mean, she loved the Indians. She called him Herbie. I listened to Herbie call the game last night. She loved Herb's score. She loved the Indian, but she loved Pete Rose. And they had, my grandparents had a couple of photographs of the Big Red Machine in 75, 76, 77. And I had the team pictures, and you could see Pete Rose and Sparky Anderson and, David Concepcion and Dan Dreesen and all these guys from back in the Big Red Machine days. And I was like, I got to the point where I'm like, man, the Indians then stink. Mm-hmm. All I'm hearing about is these Cincinnati Reds. I'm tired of hearing about Pete Rose. I watched him play, and there were times when he would make the last out. He was in the field. He would get the baseball, and he'd slam it on the turf as he was going back into the dugout. I couldn't stand that. And that's Charlie Hustle. That's the way he played. So I kind of got annoyed by Pete. I got annoyed by the Reds because they were so good. Like I got annoyed by the Steelers because they were always so good. I got annoyed by the Celtics and Lakers because they were always so good. I got annoyed by the Reds. But the older I got, more history I knew and learned about Pete. I watched his highlights. I watched the way he played. I watched the way he played rubbed off on other players. And then here comes the gambling allegations. And here comes the constant denial year after year. I didn't do it. Then all of a sudden, I forget who he was being interviewed by. Okay, I did it. That was it took a weird twist for me. But at the end of the day, when I look at who the roster is in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I look at their numbers, and I look at he should have been there a long, long time ago.
Yeah, I guess that's the debate. Is there a standard that you should be upholding? I mean, there's always that argument of about there were certain guys that weren't nice guys off the field.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't necessarily get accused of doing anything illegal, gambling or whatever. I mean, Bob Gibson. Nobody would ever say he was your best friend when you competed against him.
Right.
He'd throw at you every day of the week if you looked at him wrong. But
Bob Gibson was a headhunter.
But nobody would argue that he doesn't belong in the Hall of Fame just because he had that sort of personality, at least as a player. That nobody would have ever said that. He didn't have necessarily. He was kind of. I see a parallel there in terms of that sort of mindset that he was kind of like Albert Bell. The press didn't like Albert Bell because he didn't like them asking what he considered dumb questions, and if he didn't feel like talking, he didn't want to talk to you. And if it was a dumb question, well, that was 2 strikes against you as well. So
right, you're almost
similar
out.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So Pete Rose, he did a lot for the game, and you can't take that away from him. And even the Hall of Fame, as it's been pointed out elsewhere, that his accomplishments are recognized in the Hall of Fame. It's just he's not inducted there as a member of the Hall of Fame.
Right.
And that distinction needs to be made. So he's been there, but yeah, it does sort of seem like they kind of took a half step back. And like I said, obviously, he said sort of half-hearted apologies or non-apologies, if you want to read them as such. That didn't hurt him. That didn't help him over the years. And there were all sorts of things he did. He just kind of came across as the bad guy when he didn't have to be. And so it's like I said, mixed feelings. And on a certain level, as a fan, I suppose I'm glad to see this happen. I'm interested, though, to see what the impact is from the Baseball Writers Association, of other people that are already in the hall. How do they feel about it? Because again, I'm sure some of them were never real enthused about seeing him being reinstated. Joe Jackson is a whole nother situation. First of all, he's been dead for 75 years.
Right.
And the circumstances there were, while it was the same accusations, there were some, I guess you'd be fair to say, some mitigating circumstances there.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
Well, there was some good old fashioned game fixing going on back then.
But with Rose, I'm going to be interested to see, does this in fact open up the door, or is this just, I don't even know if this is a symbolic gesture. Obviously it means a lot, because if he could get in, anybody could get in, I suppose, if they've been banned. But is anybody going to go for it? Is anybody going to go to bat, metaphorically speaking, for Pete Rose?
Well, my question now is, Jeff, does he get voted in?
Mm-hmm.
And how long does it take? I mean, we know how these baseball writers operate. Hell, there's been years where they haven't voted anybody into the Hall of Fame.
Mm-hmm. Or they voted in one.
They voted in one. And it's like, okay. So I don't know if it's as easy as the Manfred announcement, the ban lifted, and people are going to run to the ballot box and say, put Pete. I don't know if it's going to be that easy.
I'm like you, though. I am kind of curious as to, why now? Why this decision?
Yeah.
Is this some sort of, attempt at some blatant, feel good PR move? I mean, I don't know how you exactly get that. You could have probably picked somebody else that had been banned that had a much less checkered past.
True.
I suppose.
True.
I don't know, but but if you're going to do it for one, I guess you're opening up that door there. So who knows?
Hey, before I let you go, I want to get your thoughts on the end of the Cavaliers season. And I guess I'll start it with our poll question today.
Mm-hmm.
People can check this out on X and on Instagram and all over our social media platforms. The core four for the Cleveland Cavaliers of Allen and Mobley and Garland and Mitchell, A, do you bring them all back? Do you run it back? Or B, do you break it up? What do you do?
My impulse is to leave it alone.
Okay.
I mean, did they fall short? Well, there's going to be a lot of soul searching as to why that happened. Obviously, that's already going on. We know that. But I think it's fair to say that this team shows clearly it's got heck a lot of ability, a lot of talent. You know, they got this far, and there were a lot of things that happened. We had injuries, and that undoubtedly, you know, took some of the life out of the fight, I suppose. But and that's not to make excuses, but you know that makes a difference. We see that all the time, you know, in professional sports. But I would say my impulse is to say, you know, bring it back.
If there was one player of the four, who would you maybe try to move and get something else in return? I lean toward Jared Allen or maybe Garland. I want to keep Mobley and Mitchell at all cost. But I'm willing. Yeah. I'm willing to listen if somebody wants to talk to me about maybe Allen or Garland.
I guess I would probably lean somewhere like that. Maybe Garland.
Okay. There you heard it from the award-winning 1310 WDPN newsroom, Jeffrey Mears. He's our afternoon guy here, and we appreciate him coming into the studio. Kind of drug him in from the hall. And Jeff, we always appreciate talking to you. And have a splendid rest of your Wednesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.
See you.
There he goes, Jeff Mears. Check him out Monday through Friday. Get you all the news right here on 1310 WDPN, and of course the live stream at AM1310WDPN.com. We got about 5 minutes left of the program. We're going to step out. We'll come back and start to put a bow on things on this Wednesday afternoon. Stay with us.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
When students struggle in school because they are hungry,
or fall behind because they lack school supplies or clean clothing,
being greeted at the start of every school day by the smile of a caring adult can make all the difference.
Especially someone from the community.
Someone who knows firsthand the obstacles students might be facing.
And what it will take to help them thrive.
At Communities in Schools, our site coordinators surround students with a community of support and remain by their side
to ensure that they have everything they need to engage in learning
and succeed in school and in life.
Access to technology, learning materials,
and even one-to-one mentor support.
We are there for them all day, every day. This is what Communities in Schools is all about.
Going all in for kids, in schools, in communities, and beyond.
To learn more, visit communitiesinschools.org. That's communitiesinschools.org.
This is the Sam Bourquin Show on AM 1310 WDPN.
All right, we're back for the home stretch here on 1310 WDPN. Our poll question of the day. Good response. Appreciate everybody getting in on it today. The Cavaliers core four, do you bring them back? Do you break them up? Todd the Tank Linder, the pride of Louisville, checking in. He says, maybe stick with what was working in the first quarter. He would go with B. Why just start shooting jump shots when the high-low game was working just fine? Great question. Jerry Mack, good to hear from you, Jerry. He said, I would have considered trading Allen and Garland for depending on the return. I'm right there. If return not good, then hold on to them but you need more toughness and the length off the bench. Hunter needs to be starting. Yes, I 100% agree with that. So if you are going to start DeAndre Hunter, so here you go. Here's what I would do. I would start Mitchell. I would start Mobley. I would start Hunter. Mitchell, Mobley, Hunter. You got to start Garland. And then
grab Giannis. Grab Antetokounmpo.
I mean, you
like
can't start Allen, Mobley, and Hunter at this. You can't do that. So maybe Jared Allen's the guy I'm thinking about moving on from. And maybe I got to see what my return is. But you'll have to sweeten the pie. You may have to give up a Garland as well. Keith Gillian, hope you're doing well, bud. He says, bring him back. Eric says they got to get physically and mentally tougher. It has to be done. Rich, Mike, Marcus, Stephen, Angelo, Frederick all say, bring him back. And I guess I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to move all four guys out of town. That was not the premises of the question. But the question was, either break it up. That means maybe one or two pieces break up, or do you bring them all back? And I think maybe we have seen the ceiling. Maybe, I don't know. With this particular group, we have seen as high as they are going to go. Do you run it back another year? Do you run it back another 2 years? And I know I keep reminding myself, and I try to remind you out there listening, that the whole NBA thing, to get to the finals, and people hate to hear this, so I'm going to cringe when I say it, it's a process. It takes years to get over that proverbial hump and get where you want to go. It takes years. That's just the way, like it or love it or hate it, that's just the way the NBA is set up. The NBA is not set up for a team to go from last place to first place, or it's not set up to go from sixth place to second to first in 3 years. It's just not. It's not set up the way the NFL is. Baseball's kind of set up similarly than with the NBA. But that's the rite of passage. Love it or hate it, that's just the way it is. But it will be interesting to see how many times have we heard this? Well, we'll see what the offseason is going to be like. It's going to be one of the most important off seasons in the history of the organization. Well, you can play that record again, because here we are. Here we are, and now it's time to go. Thanks to Ryan Rainsberg, our awesome producer today, working under the heat. I want to thank all of you callers today, emailers, texters, comment droppers, everybody who got with us today on all of our social media platforms. Most of all, we appreciate you listening and hanging out with us here 3 until 6. Sam Bourquin saying so long from Smith Avenue in Alliance, Ohio. Go Browns, go Bucks, go Cavs, go Guards. Good night. We will see you tomorrow.